Everything's okay.
Okay, well done, everyone. Welcome everyone to the Global Dynamics 365 Bootcamp. For those who have been involved in the past with our community events, it's been a while since we've been doing an actual online global bootcamp since COVID actually. So it's great that we're finally able to do this again. As you know, after COVID, people got a lot of digital fatigue. And so we returned back to in-person events. And so what we've decided to do was a lot of people were missing out on all this great content. We also wanted it as an opportunity to actually upskill the community, right? So we want people who are maybe new to Dynamics. So what you'll find is that our agenda today and for the rest of the bootcamp is designed and structured in a certain way where the beginning sessions are more focused on for beginners, people who are maybe brand new to Dynamics. And as we progress throughout the day, it will get more advanced. So the first session today will be me kicking off with some architecture around Dynamics. And then we'll be handing over to Arpit, who'll be covering how to configure Dynamics and set Dynamics 365's customer engagement, sales, customer experience up. We'll then be handing over to Narayan, who will be covering the actual sales features and the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 sales. And then we'll be handing over to Baris Kanlica, who will be covering more of the newer features of Dynamics 365 sales. And then we'll be moving on to Copilot, where Sharon will be covering basically the new Copilot experience for Dynamics. And as you're all aware, agents of Copilot will be the new way of delivering sales solutions versus the traditional application approach. And then we'll have a more advanced session on Copilot for healthcare scenarios. And then Joergen will be joining us to cover how to deliver dataverse modeling for Dynamics. And then finally, we're wrapping up with how to customize Dynamics 365 using the customization capability. So we've got an action-packed day for you all today. So we will have a bit of a break in between. So halfway through, we'll have a Q&A and a little bit of a break to give people a bit of a breather, and use the chat to basically ask questions. And I think I'll kick off and get started. I'm just going to let some more people in. I think there's a few more people who are waiting to be admitted. Okay, so we're good to go. So I'll be kicking off now. So for those who are unaware, so hi guys, I'm Raz, Microsoft MVP and MCT, been delivering and being a leader in the Dynamics community now for 10 years. So this is a 10-year anniversary of being involved and in leading the community, the growth of the Dynamics 365 community. And so this year is a very important year for us all. And I'm really, really grateful to be part of many people's journeys into Dynamics 365. We have trained over 30,000 people now. So there's 30,000 people we've trained globally in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. And so 10-year anniversary, it's a big deal for us. We'll be doing a lot more activities this year to celebrate that. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn if for those people who are not already connected. Okay, first and foremost, let's talk about Dynamics and the architecture. So what is Dynamics? Well, Dynamics is you need to understand what it's built on. So you've got basically Azure, which is the data centers. So the data centers are the physical infrastructure to deliver SaaS. So Dynamics 365 is SaaS. But in order to deliver this SaaS application, we do need infrastructure. We need platforms. We do need infrastructures. So when we're referring to Azure, the Azure infrastructures, I've got questions for people now. Let's make this a bit interactive. My question to you all is, which Azure infrastructure would you say is probably the most important or the most fundamental when it comes to Dynamics 365 business applications? Feel free to drop it in the chat if you've got any thoughts and considerations. So whilst we wait for people to actually drop their comments in, Entra, excellent. Gozi, McCormick, excellent. That's what I was wanting to hear. Entra, which is basically the security platform for authentication of users and for services. That's one of the most important service that's being used to implement Dynamics 365. And the next one by Graham is your SQL, right? SQL Server was definitely on the top of the list there. Why is SQL so important? Because it's a database. It's providing the actual database platform to manage the data services, which is essentially what business application information systems are primarily there to serve, the fundamental database behind it. There are also many other services behind the scenes in order to scale up the actual services. There's .NET services, there's integration services. The Power, for example, Power Automate is built on Logic Apps. So there's many Azure services. And so the key Azure infrastructure is something important when it comes to understanding when implementing Dynamics, because often you think of Dynamics as a SaaS solution. And often when you're delivering, especially enterprise solutions, you have to be more cognizant of the Azure artifacts when you're delivering the actual Dynamics 365 Azure enterprise implementation. Talked about some of the fundamentals around the Azure stack. What's next? Okay, so before any customer can actually implement Dynamics 365, you need an Office 365 subscription. So the Office 365 subscription is obviously a precursor. It's a dependency before you can actually use Dynamics 365. It also provides me with the services that are integrated for business applications to be able to run your business, such as SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. Obviously, you've got the whole Word and Excel stack. And someone mentioned, obviously, Entra. So as you can imagine, you've got Office 365 groups as well. And as you also may be aware, Microsoft has renamed Microsoft 365 to Microsoft Copilot now. So AI capabilities are more built in to Office 365, and that's Microsoft's vision. So we've talked about Azure, and when you actually spin up your Office 365 subscription, that fundamentally will have an association to an Azure tenant, right? You do have to pair that up, and that will obviously be available to actually set up your users and provision the security and access. One more thing I want to mention before we progress on to the next stage is around environments, because each environment that you implement downstream from development all the way to production should also be provisioned, and it also needs to be provisioned according to a particular Active Directory security group. So that's something else that you would need to consider when doing implementations. Okay. So we talked about Entra and Microsoft Exchange, right? So Microsoft Exchange is part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. That will be important to set up your actual provision, your integrations, because once you provision your Dynamics 365 instance, one of the most important first initial steps you'd need to do is configure your Exchange mailboxes. So you will have to enable the Exchange server-side synchronization from your Dynamics environments to your Exchange servers to allow the capability of sending and receiving emails. What's next? Sorry, guys, just skipped a bit there. Sorry. So we've got Azure, we've got Microsoft 365. We've talked about the security of Exchange and Entra. Okay, Power Platform. So when you provision Dynamics 365, there will be Power Platform assets associated to it. And the Dynamics 365 implementation also comes with seeded Power Platform licenses. You can obviously provision those separately through the Microsoft 365 Administration Center, but each Power Platform has basically an associated tenant to it that's bound for your Dynamics 365 implementation. So they obviously, those services primarily consist of Power Automate. Power Effects is part of the actual core engine behind Power Apps. So previously, for the developers for Dynamics and for Power Platform, there's basically a plugin service, a .NET service, runtime service that's used to execute your .NET code, your custom code. What Microsoft has done is they've launched this Power Effects service. Power Effects is actually quite interesting because you can actually run it from a Raspberry Pi as a separate open source service for your business logic. But what Microsoft has done is that they've invested heavily to deliver an Excel type of business logic that you can actually implement for your actual Power Apps rather than developing .NET code versus JavaScript. So you'll see Power Effects more and more as the actual as it matures as an actual runtime engine for Power Apps for Dynamics 365. As many of you are aware, Dynamics 365, sales, customer service, customer insights, marketing, that's all built on model-driven Power Apps. So there are two types of Power Apps. You've got a model-driven Power Apps, which is heavily baselined on the Dataverse, and that's why it's called a model-driven Power App. Akash, you've got your hand up. Please, could you drop your questions in the chat? That we can answer your questions. So please feel free to any question you've got, drop them in the chat, and I'll get to them as soon as I've completed this part of the presentation, as we're kind of running behind schedule. So, okay. So Marla's asking, is it possible to create a Power Apps environment without a Microsoft organization? No, you need a Microsoft account. You do need a Microsoft organization to be able to actually create an environment. Okay, so then there's also Canvas apps. You won't be covering Canvas apps much today, maybe in further sessions later on, maybe more focused on the developer sessions, but the Canvas apps can also be, the most important thing you need to be aware right now is embedding Canvas apps inside of model-driven apps. That's going to be an important capability for many of your Dynamics implementations there. Power Automate is your fundamental workflow engine. Previously, those workflow capabilities were done directly within Dynamics, the Dynamics runtime. Microsoft has now moved that into, well, they haven't moved it. They've actually launched a parallel service called Power Automate, which will allow you to build your your actual business, your workflow logic. It's important to be aware that this Power Automate workflow runtime is asynchronous. So anything synchronous would obviously need to run within inside of the actual .NET runtime. There's also synchronous and asynchronous workflows available within the Dynamics 365 platform, but for performance reasons, you definitely want to use Power Automate where you can. And then finally, Power Pages. So Power Pages is the web site solution. So this is the customer front end service that you can expose your data from Dynamics to public facing websites. And again, that's heavily model driven. Okay. So this is the that we right. So when we were referring to SQL Server previously, we were talking about SQL Server, the infrastructure. So if you think about all that infrastructure that Microsoft has served behind on top of SQL Server, they built the Dataverse, which is a combination of data lake and Elastic and many .NET services to deliver you basically a metadata-driven application. That's basically what we're referring to as the Dataverse. It's also important for you to be aware that the Dataverse is accessible previously, as you know, for on-premise implementations. You'd have access to the SQL Server. That's no longer the case. Everything is obviously accessed via API. But it's also important to understand how you interact with the Dataverse database. So you've obviously got the database store. Now, Dataverse also consists of file storage. as well as log storage as well. And it's important to be very cognizant of how you leverage on that data. One of the key things, biggest mistakes that customers make is pushing everything into the dataverse. Now we have a concept of virtual entities where you no longer need to actually physically store that data in the database. You can actually consume it at runtime and expose it in your apps using virtual tables. So database is very expensive, right? So you want to use it very strategically. You want to use it to manage your customer interactions, because at the end of the day, that's essentially what you're using the system for, to build relationships with your customers, to deliver a service to the customer. So if you've got lots of data, I would question what you're putting inside the dataverse, and there's many options you can use to do that. With Microsoft, one of the key advantages of Microsoft is it's built with integrations in mind. And so one of the things, like for example, SharePoint, we've also got native SharePoint integration that can be used for document management versus the file storage, for example, right? Some people may still want to use the file storage, but it's a no-brainer to use the SharePoint integrations instead. Okay, so an important concept behind the data I want to go into more detail is around the data structures that are included inside of the dataverse. So these data structures is previously called the common data model. These data structures come baseline in your dataverse. So if you were to build a Power App, for example, then the data structures are already baselined in the dataverse so that you can start using them straight away. Now, remember, these core data objects are not necessarily specific to Dynamics 365. You can spin up a dataverse environment, and these data structures, these core data structures, such as contacts, accounts, activities, business units. Activities are, for example, meetings, emails, tasks. These data structures are ready to go, right? So if you were to build a Power App, for example, then building a model-driven Power App or a Canvas app on a Dataverse data source, you would get those Dataverse structures available to start building your applications on top of, right? This is without even a Dynamics license. So where does Dynamics, we've talked a lot. We talked about the Azure, we've talked about Microsoft 365, we talked about the Dataverse, we talked about Power Platform. This is all the infrastructure that Dynamics 365 sits on top of. So when it comes to today, we're obviously going to be focusing on customer experience, which is the new terminology behind Dynamics sales. So let's talk more into detail about the actual sales of Dynamics 365. So you've got all this infrastructure, all these prerequisites now in place. And so once you basically install Dynamics 365, basically once you've acquired the license for Dynamics 365, you've installed it. There are solution packages, and I will do a separate session on solutions and how they are structured, but these solutions will now be installed in that specific environment. These Dynamics 365 solutions will live on top of the prerequisite solutions that will already be defaulted when you install the application. So, for example, they'll be by default when you install Dataverse, for example, there will be Dataverse core solutions. When you implement Power Pages, there will be some core Power Page solutions deployed in your Dataverse environment. So as soon as you install Dynamics 365 and you target a specific environment to install it in, it will then install a layer of solutions, and these will be several solutions laid on top of one another. So if you look at what these solution components contain, well, it basically builds on top of what you already have around contacts and accounts, which are, as you know, key core structures that you need to use to manage the central repository to manage your customer relationships. Think about the sales process now. So we're talking about leads. The lead to opportunity process is where sales application is heavily focused on. So we'll be heavily focused on the lead, capturing initial interactions with customers to then nurture into an opportunity, and that lead to opportunity qualification process would then basically allow you to bind, and it'll generate customer records. It'll generate an account record if you don't have one from the lead. It will generate a contact record from the lead. It will do that automatically, and then you can enrich that data, and then it'll allow you to work on the opportunities, which will then allow you to then start creating quotes against the opportunities and allow you to be able to add products, line items to your quotes for them then to actually for then the customer to agree as a sales order, and then finally you can generate an invoice. So that's primarily what the sales application is focused on. An important thing when you're looking at this diagram here is the apps that are associated. So Dynamics 365 will have various sales, will have its set of power apps that it will allow your users to actually interact with the various facets of the sales application. Right, so you've got the main sales hub. You've got additional applications as well. For example, for team members, so team members will have a separate power app that they would access versus the Dynamics 365 sales application. Also, another thing to be cognizant of is the fact that there is also another power app. It's considered as a power app, and it's embedded in your Outlook, right? So the Outlook integration is also considered a power app, and that is embedded in your Outlook to allow you to easily use Dynamics via Outlook. So and then on top of that, we'll have any other applications. So next week we'll be talking about customer services, but that's basically, I just wanted to, before we start going into the details of the applications, I wanted you to all be aware of the architecture and concepts behind Dynamics when you're using it, because all this information is going to be very helpful in delivering an enterprise grade solution where Dynamics 365 really does shine. Okay, so now let's take a look and zoom a bit more into detail into the Dynamics 365 sales application. So what you're looking at right now are all the services that are provisioned as part of the Dynamics 365 for sales. It's grown a lot. It's evolved a lot over the years, from being just a very basic contact management system to being a very more comprehensive set of services. As you can see on the screen right here, we talked about the Outlook app, but there's so many other services. You've got the Sales Accelerator, you've got relationship intelligence, you've got more enhanced email engagements, right, where you get to see more, you get to see more insights into interactions with the emails. The sales insights, you've got product management, which is kind of was always there as a core feature anyway. Obviously, you've got your lead management. LinkedIn Sales Insights and Sales Navigator is another key productivity and sales intelligence solution, which really provides a lot of relationship selling advantages in Dynamics. You've got the SMS features, you've got guided selling, you've got the in-app marketing campaigns is basically where the marketing solution previously core marketing campaign management feature. So it's not a marketing solution as such, but it does allow you to easily integrate other marketing solutions into Dynamics. If you're not using customer insights, for example, the in-app marketing campaigns are useful for those marketing integrations. You've also got actual sales management features for work assignments and sequences to be able to easily generate sales activities for various sales team members, to be able to easily create tasks as part of your sales processes rather than ad hoc. So you've got these templates within Dynamics to allow you to do that based on the sales team and their territories. So as I mentioned to you earlier, the sales and opportunity management process is the key feature here. So as you can see, everything begins as a lead, where a lead would come through, whether it's from a web form, whether it comes through as a business card, you've scanned someone's business card in, or you've just created it by a telephone call. That lead would provide the base information to then qualify it into an opportunity. So that lead to opportunity process is the fundamentals behind actual Dynamics 365 sales and where most of the processes are involved in. So that lead to opportunity will basically generate a contact and account record. Now I've put the account record centrally here. It depends on your business, the type of business model you have in place, because if it's B2B, for example, then obviously you'll be more account centric, whereas if it's B2C, then you may be more contact centric. So the lead to the main thing to be aware of are the activities that are involved all along downstream this process. So you've got the lead, the activities taking place across leads against contacts. You've got lead activities happening on opportunities, on accounts. So all this this pipeline of data is being tracked centrally. So you get that single view of the customer. So the lead to opportunity qualification process, once it's been qualified, once the lead has been qualified, and now you have contacts, you've got a central account, you can start working that opportunity further to understand the interest of the customer when it comes to specific products. And so you've got a lot of interactions taking place, such as tasks, you've got emails being sent back and forth, you've got phone calls being made, you've got appointments being made, you'll be taking notes and so on and so forth. You'll have documents being generated as part of that sales process. And this is where many organizations differ a lot. So over my 20 years of implementing Dynamics, working across various industries, all the way from banking to healthcare to public services to housing to energy to professional services. This is where the variations do truly lie across the variances across organizations. This is where it'll require yourself as a Dynamics 365 consultant to come in and engineer those process for these organizations to be able to run their processes. And also remember that as a Dynamics 365 consultant, processes are the fundamentals here, right? Your understanding of processes is what's going to make you more successful in implementing basically a successful solution. And this is where most of your efforts will be involved. And this is why we have user stories that need to be translated. So being aware of all these functional requirements and these functional capabilities of Dynamics will empower you to be able to then deliver your user stories. And once you are in the opportunity process, you'll then be able to generate quotes. These quotes will obviously have product line items associated to them. So in the next session, we'll go through how to set up the products and the price lists as well, so that they can be added to your quotes. And then once the customer approves a specific quote, you can generate a sales order. And then from that sales order, we can generate an invoice. We can then close the opportunity as well. And again, this is all important from a reporting and metrics perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure we've got everyone online. We've got our next attendee speakers who'll be presenting. So just bear with me as we allow the speakers into the lobby. So we've got Arpit and we've got Narayan.
Hey, Raz, do we have Arpit presenting, or
Yes,
do you want me to jump in?
Okay. Yeah, so Arpit is online. Just going to give him presenter permissions.
Hi, Raj. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll join soon. Is that fine?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take a quick look at the questions. Okay. Yeah, so Abhijit is asking, will this bootcamp teach sales from start to end? Yes, it will, Abhijit. We're simply just kicking off the bootcamp with some background information so that you're aware of some of the architecture aspects. So yes, we will be proceeding with that in the next few minutes. We'll be proceeding with basically beginning how to actually set up the Dynamics 365 sales environment, how to configure your environment, as well as the features. Next question by Oleg. Is there a Dynamics 365 CE virtual machine available for developers? Unlocked to D365 Finance and Operations. So Oleg, there isn't a virtual machine as such. Previously Microsoft used to provide licenses for on-prem implementations that you could install on a virtual machine. That's no longer the case. You may get an old version as part of your MSDN license, but now it's all online. It's all on the cloud now, right? So Dynamics 365 is a cloud service, and so there is no virtual machines for Dynamics CE. For F&O, yes, you can set up virtual machines, but we have a separate track for F&O in February. So guys, for everyone on the call today, January will be focused purely on Dynamics CE. So today we'll be covering sales. Next week we'll be covering customer service, and the week after that we'll be covering marketing and customer insights. February will be focused on finance and operations. We'll be covering finance. We'll be covering supply chain. We'll be covering HR. We'll also be covering F&O, administration and development. Okay. Yeah. So as Graham mentioned, if you want to set up a dev environment for Power Platform, now remember the Power Platform dev environment doesn't include Dynamics 365. It's for Power Platform, but then you can set up trials. So Graham, yeah, thanks for that in the chat. Okay. Any other questions, guys, before we introduce Arpit?
Hi, Raz. We have one question here from Renata while we're waiting for Arpit to come on. So will you give us access to the Power Platform ETC so we can study? You can spin up, as Raz mentioned, you can spin up a trial version. Just use your corporate account. That's a kind of a mandatory requirement. You have a 30 days trial, which you can spin it up and do your practice. It gives you a system admin level access, but there are some features will be limited. That's because Microsoft wants to protect those trial versions. So, and it also comes with the data. So that's quite important. So it doesn't come just a blank environment. So I hope that helps.
Okay, thanks for that, Arpit. Actually, Narayan, I forgot an important thing that we forgot to mention today. So the Microsoft Learn community, right? So this initiative is part of the initiative with Microsoft Learn to facilitate your learning for Dynamics 365. So there are some resources that we need to share as well on how to set up your environments, as well as training material that we'll be providing as well. So a lot of people are not aware of. A lot of the training material for Dynamics and for Power Platform is already available. Microsoft has made that available on Microsoft Learn. We'll share. Narayan, are you able to share that in the chat? I will share. In fact, guys, one of the things is I've actually created a cheat sheet for you to actually help you with your learning, and it provides all the information, all the assets and links to the resources. Some of the resources that I created myself. There's also resources for Microsoft Learn. So everything you need is already included. So that's something we'll be sharing with all of you as attendees.
Absolutely. And in my session, I will try and touch base on a few things if you are interested in certification as well. So without spending too much time on it, we'll give you a quite high level hint where you can do the self-preparation, self-learning, a lot of documentation, learning elements are available. So absolutely, you can make use of it. And also Raz mentioned, like, there are learning rooms as well, which you can join and interact as and when needed. So there are plenty of rooms available where you have a different type of topics you can discuss.
So we'll be sharing those links in the chat. We'll also be sending an information pack to everyone in an email as well. But in the meantime, you can just spin up a trial for Dynamics 365. I'm completely freezing. I'm inside. Oh my word, I'm completely shivering today, guys. Oh my word. I'm going to put my coat on, actually. It's freezing where I am at the moment. So, how many people, whilst we're on the call here, are brand new to Dynamics, completely brand new? So how many people, because I recognize a lot of names, familiar names, people who are already using Dynamics. I'd be interested to see a list of all the people who are brand new or fairly new to Dynamics. Just drop a quick comment. And the reason why we're asking this question is because to kind of tailor the content to make sure we're covering enough of the detail, we're not skipping over bits of information, right? So that it helps us to get a better idea of our audience. So yeah, so anyone who's got fairly new to Dynamics, a lot of people are new because they're coming from different application backgrounds, even from Power Platform. People, even from a Power Platform background, are new to Dynamics as well. And or even people working with different products. So you've got people from F&O, people from Business Central that are also new to Dynamics 365 sales. They're all very different products. So the objective, once again, guys, is to take you from zero to a hero with Dynamics 365 sales today, right? So Narayan, so we've got Narayan, we've got Arpit who'll be going through the very fundamental basics of getting started with Dynamics sales. Arpit's going to kick off first with core configurations that you need. Often people forget when you spin up a Dynamics 365 environment, for example, they don't know that there are requirements, there are precursors to getting started with using the application. There are base configurations that you need to do, and it often throws people off, right? And that's what Arpit's going to be covering today. And I can see Arpit's online right now. Hi, Arpit.
Hi, Razwan. How are you?
Hey. Okay, Arpit. So we're going to hand over the floor to you now. So I think from a time perspective, I think you've only got about, say, 45 minutes, right? Half an hour to 45 minutes. In fact, yeah, you've got 45 minutes because we've obviously overrun a little bit for you to cover the core configurations for Dynamics, sales/customer experience. One of the key things, guys, one thing, if you're new to Dynamics community and to just be aware, be ready of constant definition changes, naming changes all the time, right? The product will continue to evolve and change. The names will change. Previously, it was called CRM. Then it's called customer engagement. Then it was called sales. Now it's called customer experience. The reason why I need to know this is because from a certification perspective, it will reflect on the certifications that you have. So anyway, without further ado, I think Arpit is ready to rock and roll. For those who are not aware of who Arpit is, he's a well-esteemed Microsoft MVP and MCT, as well as the author of the Power Apps cookbook as well. And he's been also a pioneer in the Power Pages/Power Portals. Again, another product name. So previously it was called ADX Studio, then it was Power Apps Portals, now it's Power Pages. So Arpit is also a pioneer in that regard to that community, and he's done some of the largest implementations for clients such as IKEA. But anyway, without further ado, Arpit, we're all blessed to have you here today to kick off the main session of today, to get especially for the newbies, right? For the core setup and configurations for Dynamics 365 sales. So over to you, Arpit.
Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Ras. Can you just confirm you can hear me loud and clear and my screen
Yeah,
is visible?
crystal clear. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Arpit. Mm, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone from wherever time zone you are joining this event. A very thank you to Ras for having me in the Power community and presenting the today's session. As you know, the session is all about the Dynamic 365 customer engagement, sales setup, and the configuration. So I'll just start with the fundamentals only. So my objective is to cover the basics of Dynamics 365, what is the sales and what are the different types of apps looks like. To get a start with it, just wanted to give a quick introduction about me. My name is Arpit Shrivastava and I am the 4 times Microsoft MVP awarded. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer who have been giving trainings globally, and I'm currently working as a Power Platform architect and a specialist in Capgemini, Sweden. I'm sharing my content and sharing my knowledge with the community since 2019 through various channels. I have recently published my book as well. So someone who wanted to know the fundamentals of Dynamic 365 model driven app or the power apps, I would say like this is the best work for you to cover the fundamentals because it has got covered everything related to Dynamics 365 model driven app, all the latest features until July 2024. This book focused more on the fundamentals, concept, and all the core features, um, which is still there since the Microsoft Dynamics CRM was there. I know Microsoft is quite frequently changing a lot of naming conventions, products, and everything. But rather focusing on the specific features, it focuses on the fundamentals. So someone who is kicking start their journey or they want to start their career in the Dynamics 365, this is the best work for you. And apart from that, if you want to connect with me through the social media channel, because I've been sharing a lot of content over my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, and through my blogs and website, you can connect me through arpitpowerguy.com. Okay. So if I talk about the today's agenda, I'm going to discuss about the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 sales app. Uh, I assume like my Ras has already covered a lot of introduction stuff related to the Dynamics 365 sales architecture and everything. I'll just quickly go through like what is Dynamics 365 sales and what are the different types of apps available, and then I'll discuss about what is environment and how you set up the environment before you start doing the implementations. Um, I will also discuss about the security setup because that is also the crucial step before you start doing the implementation. So I'll touch base on what are the different types of security you can create or you can implement or you can extend it in the Dynamics 365 sales. And then we have some teams and queue, as well. So what are the significance of using teams and the queues in the Dynamics 365 sales? And then we have the mailbox setup option as well. So these are the various options that I'm going to discuss about in the next 45 or 50 minutes. And then Narayan will take over to, all the deep dive information about the Dynamics 365 sales, like, the process and everything. All right. So before getting started with the Dynamics 365 sales app, I just wanted to give you an understanding like what is Dynamics 365. Okay, so someone, if you have already been working in the Dynamics CRM, so earlier we used to call that product as Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and we have seen a lot of growth and we have seen a lot of enhancement and the product upgrade since then. Yep. So earlier we used to call that as a product called Microsoft Dynamics CRM, which were the objective of this product basically to manage the customer relationship. Okay. And there was another product that was focused on the the enterprise resource planning, especially on the ERP side. And that product I used to call as Microsoft Dynamics ERP. So there were a lot of modules and the apps that Microsoft has introduced as part of the Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And in the earlier days, we used to call them as a module, like sales module, service modules, marketing modules. And then the ERP product, we also had some of the products like Microsoft Dynamics Exapta and SL, right? So these kind of products we had. So there was a different products in the different areas. So there was a lot of confusion around the customers and the developers. So what Microsoft did it, they basically combined these two different products into a single product and give a new branding called Dynamic 365. All right. So those who are not aware what is Dynamic 365, so basically it is the combination or the collection of two different products called Microsoft Dynamics CRM plus Microsoft Dynamics ERP. Okay, that means whatever modules you had you were using in the Dynamics CRM like sales and marketing or the service, now we call them as apps. Okay, because like in the Dynamic 365 everything is apps, sales apps, marketing apps, service apps, and even you see the some ERP related apps as well, finance and operation apps, right? So they have combined. So some of the ERP related modules are still not migrated to Dynamic 365 or to the Dataverse. So they are still on the ERP side, but some of them has been converted to the model driven app like finance and operations, and there are a lot of other apps as well. So basically, Dynamics 365 is the combination of Dynamics CRM and the Dynamics ERP. Now, as I said, like Dynamics 365 nowadays is the common product for all the ERPs and the Dynamics CRM apps, and it has all the kind of apps. So if you have to deal with the sales related activities or sales related process, then you have got Dynamics 365 sales. If you have to manage the service or the customer service related process, then you have the customer service related app. So each process and each module have has got their own app. Okay. So if I talk about the Dynamics 365 sales, so basically this apps basically does the sales automation. So it is a kind of sales automation application that basically helps all the sales professionals to manage their customer relationship and the sales related activity. So you see like a lot of sales related process like the lead process, opportunities, product catalogs, the campaign management. So these are all part of the Dynamic 365 sales. All right. And as you know, like Microsoft is pushing Copilot and AI in all the products these days. So it has got a lot of other artificial intelligence related features and the Microsoft Copilot features as well. So I'm not going to discuss about all those AI related features because we have the dedicated sessions on that. But just for understanding, like there are a lot of features that you got in the Dynamics 365 sales. Now, what is Dynamics 365 sales apps? So as I said, all the modules that we were using in the Dynamics CRM has now converted into the apps, and Microsoft has provided a lot of apps related to the sales based on your business need. Okay. Now, why Microsoft has provided a lot of apps for the Dynamics 365 sales? So it is not only about the sales. If you use the customer service, you will get a lot of customer service related apps as well. In the similar way, in the sales, you have got a lot of sales app. Now, what is the purpose of using those apps? What are the purpose of having multiple sales app? The first, purpose is, the tailored, the different solutions. So, like different business or different enterprises have their own business need and own the complexity level of their solutions or the requirements, right? So basically, if you have the multiple sales app, then you can allow the businesses to choose a solution that best fit for their requirement. So it provides you basically the flexibility so that you can choose the sales app based on your business need. Scalability. So as you know, like as business grow, their needs also evolves, and having different sales app means you can scale up or down without switching the platform entirely, right? So you always start with a single app, but later in the in your project you come across the requirement to create or extend your existing app, or you need to create some additional apps. So in that case, it also provides you the flexibility or the scalability, specialized features. So each app comes with some unique features designed to address a specific aspects of the sales process. And I think this is also one of the reason you basically use to decide like which kind of sales app you want to use. So I'm going to discuss about the different types of sales apps that we have, but you basically choose based on the features that individual apps provide, and based on that you use that apps for your business need. Okay, so specialized features also define that you have to use the different sales app. Cost efficiency. So small businesses may not need the advanced features sometimes, and the large enterprise required. So providing various options ensure that business only pay for what they need. Okay, sometimes you have to just maintain or just wanted to implement a simple sales process. You don't want to use some fancy AI features or some automations or LinkedIn integrations or the integrations. So if you don't want to use those features, then can you can purchase a simple sales app that will be cost efficient for you, right? And the last is the integration flexibility. So as you know, like today, every project need to integrate the data from different external application to your Dataverse, and from Dataverse to the different application. And you already have got a lot of tools, lot of connectors available with you. So there are various sales app available that also provide you the integration flexibility. So if you have the requirement that you are core looking for the integration flexibility, then you also have to choose the specific type of sales app that will provide you that flexibility. Now, what are the different types of sales apps you have? So the first type of sales app you have is the sales premium. Okay, and basically it is ideal for the enterprises that need a sales automation solution. For example, lead automation, opportunity, the whole basically the main sales process that start with the lead, opportunity, order management, quotation management, invoice management, along with the AI driven insight. And that is provided by the conversation intelligence, so relationship intelligence and more. So if you need these kind of features, then you can go with the sales premium. Sales enterprise, and this is for the enterprise that needs a sales automation with the contextual insight and advanced customization capabilities. And the third option is you have the sales professional. Okay, and this is only ideal for the enterprise that are looking for only the sales automation, right? So if you have a very small enterprise or a small organization, if you are implementing the sales process for a small organization, you can go for sales professional. If you have to put some advanced customization along with some advanced contextual insight capabilities, then you can go with the sales enterprise. But if you have to use some artificial intelligence features, relationship intelligence and all, then you can go with the premium. So premium is more costlier than the enterprise, and the enterprise is more costlier than the professional. Okay, and the last two ones are the one is Microsoft Relationship Sales. That is basically ideal for the enterprises that need to connect their sales data or the sales records that they have in the Dataverse with the LinkedIn. Okay, just to enhance the business process with the data about the people, organization, and the relationship. And the last one is the Microsoft 365 Copilot for Sales. So this is one of the latest app that Microsoft has provided. So as you know, like we have the Outlook for all the kind of email communication. We have the Teams for all the kind of Teams chat and the meeting kind of communication. So if you have to extend your Dynamic 365 sales so that you can use the Copilot capabilities that you got in the Outlook and the Teams, then you can purchase the Microsoft 365 Copilot for Sales as well, right? So all the kind of Copilot capabilities you will get it in the Microsoft 365 Copilot for Sales. All right. So these are the different kinds of app, and this is just a the tabular view I actually presented, just to know like you if you want to compare like what are the different kind of apps sales app we have, and what are the use cases based on that I can decide, or what are the features based on that I can decide like which app I can go for it. So as you can see, like in the premium, you it is also it always recommended if you use it for the large enterprises where you have to implement the complex sales process along with the AI driven insights. Sales enterprise for the medium enterprises, sales professional for the the small to medium sized business, Microsoft relationship sales for the LinkedIn integration basically, and the Copilot for sales, someone who are morely using the Outlook and the Teams integrations along with the sales. Yep. All right. Now, this is all about what are the different types of Dynamics 365 sales app. I'll first go through all the content so that you will have the basic knowledge of it. And I'll quickly show you like how you can create the trial environment, because since it's a demo, since it's a session, so I'll just simply set up a demo environment for you, or the trial environment for you, so you can also do it at your own environment and can start doing implementations. All right. So as you know, like once you install or create a trial, or if you have the licensed environment, or if you are using the test environment, or if you have the Power Apps developer environment, once you set up the Dynamics 365 trial, so let me quickly show you so that you will at least know like how you can do that. So you need to simply search it, Dynamics 365 Sales Enterprise Trial. Trial. So you just need to search Dynamics 365 trial, and here you can see like all the Dynamics 365 related apps you will get. So if you click on the sales, you will get the sales related apps, services. So you have the service related apps. So if you have to get the trial of Dynamics 365 sales, just hit try for free, and it will ask you for your email address, so that you need to provide your email address whatever you have, and then you just need to hit start your free trial. So this will take around 1 or 2 minutes to set up a trial in your existing Power Platform environment. Okay, so I have done the same step, and you can see like there is a sales trial, a new trial has got created in my Power Platform environment. Okay, and once you have this sales trial available, you can see like all the sales related features. I'll get it. For example, like activities. So activities are nothing, it's just for the communication. So all the kind of communications like the calendar is nothing, it's just an appointment or the meetings, task, phone calls, fax, emails, whatever email, whatever communication you are doing with your customer, it basically stores in the activities. Pipeline is nothing, it's just a sales process. So whatever process that you are using, like leads management, opportunities, and the forecast related stuff. And customer is basically to hold your, the customers, like your contacts, your accounts. So contacts are basically the individual customers, and the accounts are basically it used to hold the company related information. For example, my individual details will be stored in the contacts, and my organization like Capgemini details will be stored in the account. So it's like that. And you have some resources as well. And then if you switch to the different area, you have got some app settings, personal settings, and all. I'm not going to dive deep into that, because in the upcoming sessions you will get more understanding about that. But here you can change the settings, and you can enable and disable the features. So for example, if you want to enable the Copilot, if you want to enable some AI related features, some LinkedIn related features, so you can simply go to the app settings, and here you get all the some productivity tools, chatting and collaborations, LinkedIn integration, Teams integrations, and all the features. So it's just a turn on and turn off features like that. Okay, so this is how you can do that. And if you can go to the sales trial, you can switch it to the different apps as well. So if you can see here, I have the Sales Hub app as well available. So sales hub basically provide it is basically provide some more details. So as I said, like based on the different business need, there are different kinds of sales app available. Okay, and you if you find it like if any of the existing app is not fit for your business need, you can anyways go and create your own app as well. Okay, so like I have done in my current implementation, like we have the Dynamics 365 enterprise licenses, but still we are using the custom sales applications because sometimes it happens like because you may have this question like since this Dynamics 365 sales provide a lot of features, a lot of AI related features and all, but still why you are using the custom app? Because sometimes you don't need because sometimes you don't need to have some fancy features and all. You just need to have the straightforward app where the customer can deal with the important tables or the processes of the sales, like the lead opportunity and all. You don't want to use all those features because it takes a lot of time to remove all the features, to disable all the features that comes out of box with the sales hub or the sales related application. So if you have such kind of requirement where you want to have your own app and you want to control over it, like what are the features you want to incorporate in it, so you can anyways go and create the custom applications as well. All right, so this is how you can set up your trial. I'm not going to discuss about how the lead process looks like, how the opportunities looks like. You will understand in the next session. Okay. Let me go back to the another topic, that is the environment setup. Okay. Now, what is environment setup? So basically, once you have your trial environment in your Power Platform environment, once you install the Dynamics 365 sales trial, you need to set up the environment. Okay, what is an environment now? So environment is basically let me check whether I can have this. Yeah, so environments are basically a container which actually hold the components and the resources of that specific environment. Okay, for example, like you can see in this picture, Quantoso Corp is nothing, it's just an organization and it has got the dedicated Microsoft Entra ID tenant. So each company will get the unique Microsoft Entra ID tenant. So tenant is nothing, it just a cloud space. You will get it from the Microsoft specific for your organization. Okay. For example, like my company is Capgemini and they want to set up the sales process for their organization. So they will first create a tenant. That means they will purchase a space on the cloud from the Microsoft, and that will call it as a tenant. Okay, so it's like a topmost thing in any company. So company means is a tenant, and then under the tenant you create other different kinds of environments. So it is a kind of container or a baggage which is the collection of various components. Okay, so as you can see, like Contoso Corporation is a tenant and it has got different kinds of environments, and each environment has got their own components. For example, if you are creating Power Apps, Flows, Dataverse, so those component and resources will be specific to that particular environment. Okay. So basically, you can also say like environment is basically to grouping it is basically used to group the components to distinguish from the different environments. Now there are different purposes of using environments. Sometimes you use it for the testing purpose. Sometimes you create the environment for the development, testing, and the production. For example, like one environment you will create where you will do the development, and it will have all the components and the resources specific to the development and the users as well. And there will be a dedicated environment for testing where the testing users or the UAT will happen. And there is a live environment that you call it as a production. So all this environment will have a different data, different setup, different users, and they will not interact with each other. So these kind of things you can manage with the environments. Now, when you create the environments, how you make sure, like how you ensure, like Someone who is having access to environment 1 will not have access to the environment 2. So this basically handled using the security group. Okay, so security group is a kind of group that basically linked to a particular environment, and if you are belong to that particular, if you are belonging to that particular group, that means you have access to that particular environment. Okay, so for example, you have three environment: dev, test, and the prod. And for each specific environment, you have got three security group in the Active Directory called security group dev, security group test, and security group prod. So if you want to have the access, if you want to get the access in the environment dev, then you need to be added in the security group dev. Okay, and if you need to get the access in the test, similarly you have the access to the security group test, right? So this is the way. Now there are different purposes to create the environment. First, for the development, testing, and the production purpose. Sometimes you have different vendors or the stakeholders working in the same environment. So in that case, you can also use the different environment under the same tenant, because it might be possible in your company there are different projects are running, and they are using the same tenant. So in that case also you can create the different project, or sorry, different environments. Sometimes you have to create the environment based on the location. For example, like one of your customer is in the US, and one of the customer region is in the UK, and one is in the India. So in that case also you can create the different environments based on the location, right? So this is basically the definition of the environment. Now what is in the environment and what is not in the environment. So basically, whatever the components or the resources you are creating, like the Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, Microsoft Copilot Studio, and the Copilots, Microsoft Dataverse, custom connectors, and there are many other things will be part of your environments. But there are few things that will be outside your environment. For example, Power BI. So as you know, like Power BI has their dedicated, the portal or the website Power BI service, where you create the Power BI reports at the dashboard. So that is not part of your environment. You create it separately. Data flows, Azure services, as you know, like Azure services and Azure related components being handled from the Azure portal. So that is also not part of the environment. And there are still some of the Dynamics 365 apps, as I was talking about on my previous slide, that has not still migrated to the Dataverse. They are still on the old version of the product, like Business Centrals and all. So they are still not part of the environment. Okay. One of the important thing about the environment is you can have or not have the Dataverse linked to the environment. So if you want to create an environment, you have two choices. You can either create the environment with the Dataverse or without the Dataverse. Okay, because it might be possible that you want to store the information specific to that environment resources to the Dataverse, or it might be possible that you want to store the data outside of the Dataverse. Now, what are the scenarios? For example, you want to create a Canvas app where you want to store the data in the SharePoint. So you want to create a Canvas app that is linked to the SharePoint. So in that case, there is no use of using Dataverse, right? So in that case, you can create the environment without using Dataverse as well. Okay. Now, this is how you can this is how your environment fit in your overall architecture of the Dynamics 365. So basically you can see here, this is the Microsoft Azure. The black box is the Microsoft Azure, where all the Azure related components and the resources are there, like Active Directory, data gateways, logic apps, um, API management, functions, storage, and all the things related to the Azure will be available. And as you can see, like there is a dedicated tenant specific to your company or the organization. And there you will find there are other Microsoft products and applications like SharePoint, Teams, Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft Excel, PPT, sorry, PowerPoint, Word. They are also using the same tenant. And then you have a dedicated Power Platform environment who are also using the same Active Directory tenant. So whatever resources or components you have inside that environment, like Power Apps, Power Automate, Dataverse, or whatever you have, Copilot Studio, they can interact with the the other services which lies in the same Active Directory tenant. And these Power Apps and Power Automate has connection with the model-driven app, tables, business process flow. So it has got a different component. So this is how the whole environment fit into the architecture. All right. So before jumping into the security model, let me quickly show you like how the environment setup looks like. Okay, so let me take this up. Perfect. Okay, so in order to set up the environments and everything, you need to first head over to the admin center. So in order to go to the admin center, you first need to either you can come to the make.powerapps.com and click on gear icon, click on the admin center. So admin center is a place where you have to, deal with all the kind of admin related activities. You can manage, the licenses. You can manage your resources, your apps, your the database capacities, the analytics, the billing related stuff. So all the, admin related stuff you can manage from here. Ideally, when you're working in the project, you don't get the access to the admin centers because it is always recommended that the dedicated user should have access to the admin center. Being a developer, you should not always get the access to it. But if you have the access, you can explore in your trial environment as well. Click on the environments, and here you get all the environments. So you can see like I have three environments available right now: the sales trial, Power Studio, and the dev environment. So you can see like different types of environments are there. Default. So default is the environment that get created at the time of the at the time when you set up your environment. Okay, so whenever you create a trial environment or set up a new organization in your environment, you automatically get the environment with the type default. And then you have the developer environment, which comes with no expiry. So if you want to create, so as you can see, like I have created a trial that comes with 30 days expiry. So after 30 days, everything will get removed from my Dataverse. But if you don't want to use the trial, you want to use the developer environment, then you can see like there is a dedicated type of that environment called developer, which obviously comes with some restrictions, but your trial will not get expired in that case, right? So this is how the environments look like. So if you want to create a new environment, you need to provide the name of the environment. Then you can make this as a managed environment, which provides some additional capabilities. I don't want to dive deep into that because it's a very big topic. And then you can also choose a group as well, and then region, which region you want to create. So region is very important because if you are, for example, if you are in the US region, or if you are in the UK region, then choose the region as a UK. Okay, that means whatever Dataverse you will create it, or whatever resources or the components you are going to create it, it is going to be created in the server close to your region. So for example, if you choose UK, then Microsoft will choose the UK server to store all your resources and the component related information. Okay, so that is very important in that case. And you can see the label like local region can provide quicker data access, of course, right? If you want to enable your environment for latest features, you can turn on this option, and you can see like there are different types of environments you have available. You have the trial, you have the the developer environments. That is also kind of trial, but it comes with no expiry. Production for the live users. Trial is basically for the 30 days trial purpose. Sandbox is basically it's a test environment, but only available for the licensed users. Okay, so if you have the license, you have not the trial, but if you have the licensed Power Platform environment, or you have the license of any app, then you have to create some test environments, right? Like development environment or the UAT environment. So in that case, you create the sandbox environment. And this is the option how you want to pay for your particular environment or the apps you are creating, and then save it. So this is the way how you create the environment. And once you create the environment, if you can go back to the apps, so whatever component you are creating. So if you can see in the left panel, you can see there are a lot of components available. You have got the solutions, you have got the AI related stuff, you have the Power Pages website, and if you go to the more, you have the database tables, flows, agents. There are list of components available. But these all the components are going to be created or linked with a specific environment that you select here. Okay. So if you want to change your environment, you can come here and then change it. For example, Arpit Power Guide Dev. So then all the components you are creating that will start creating in this particular environment. Okay. So this is the way how you can, create the environments. Now, the next topic that we have is the security model. Now, once your environment is set up, the most important thing how your security is going to be work, right? Because security is the main thing. How you handle the sales data, what kind of the roles you are going to provide, what kind of the roles and responsibilities like the salesperson, sales managers, sales representatives. So there are going to be many the co-workers that is going to handle the sales process. So how you set up that security model. Okay. So in the Dynamics 365 sales, this is how the security layer looks like. Okay, at a very high level, this is how the security layer looks like. So it start with Microsoft Entra ID, license, environment, data loss prevention policy, security, and the encryption. So basically, these securities are act like a security guard. Okay, so first it starts with Microsoft Entra ID. So Microsoft Entra ID means you need to have your Active Directory or the Microsoft Entra ID username and password, and your user must be there in the Active Directory. Then only you will be able to log in into the application, right? Because in any application, no matter if it's Dynamics 365 Sales or any other application, first of all, you need to log in into that application. You need to authenticate, right? Then the authorization comes to the picture. So authentication required your user needs to be set up in the Active Directory. So that is the first layer of security. Okay. Now imagine you have got your user created in the Active Directory. You have the username and the password. Now again, you need to have the license. So that is the second layer of security. Having the user account doesn't mean you can access the sales application. You need to have the appropriate license as well. So unless or until your administrator will not assign the license to your user, you will not be able to access that particular application. Okay. Now imagine you have the user in the Active Directory, you have the license. Now, which environment you want to use? Because you have the license, that doesn't mean you are allowed to access any of the environment available in your tenant. As I said, if you are if you are the developer, then you're supposed to access the developer environment. And if you are the tester, then you are supposed to access on the UAT environment, right? You should not have access to the other environment. And if you are the live user, you are the actual user who are going to use the app, not intended to develop or testing the app, then you should have the access of the production environment, right? So based on that, you need to be added in the dedicated security group. As I said, like each environment is linked with the security group, and you need to be part of that security group in order to access that environment. Okay, so you have got created in the Active Directory, you have got the license of the sales app. Now you have got added in the security group, so you have got access to the environment. Now, what is data loss prevention policies? So as you know, like in the Power Platform, you have got 1,000+ connectors, right? Some of the connectors connects with the Microsoft applications like Excel, OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, and but there are some of the connectors that let you connect with the third-party applications. Okay. And for example, like DocuSign, we have the DocuSign integrations. We have some different third-party tools available. So it's always a good a choice that you need to have a control over it, like which connector your developers can use it. Because if you are allowed to use all the 1,000 connectors in your Power Automate, in your Power Apps, it is a chance to leak your Dataverse data or your organization data. So in that case, you can have the control over it, like which particular connectors you can use it or which particular connector you can't use it. So this is basically one more level of security you can provide. So once you have this kind of control, then you have the security roles. The security roles is one of the most powerful security feature of Dataverse that basically handles what you can access and what you can't access. Okay, especially related to the components or the data, because once you have the access to an application, what authorization you will get. So authorization comes to the picture, right? What rights you have to access the data, that basically decide using the security roles. So I'll discuss about the security roles in the coming slide. The last one is the encryption. Okay, so all the kind of security that you handle at your end, but there are some of the security that comes to the picture when your data actually store in the Dataverse, or when your data is transmitting between Dataverse to the third party application or third party application to your Dataverse, right? So Microsoft provide the end-to-end encryption when your data is stored in the Dataverse. So they actually use the SQL Server transparent data encryption security mechanism that basically encrypt all the Dataverse related files at the SQL Server level, because like Dataverse is nothing, it's just a SQL server, or it's just an Azure SQL in the backend, right? So basically they provide two kind of encryption. One for the data which is already stored in the Dataverse, that is called TDE, that is a transparent data encryption security mechanism, and SSL with a security socket layer. And this is basically comes to the picture whenever you are communicating your Dataverse data with the external application. So this provides the end-to-end encryption. These are the different security layer you will get it. So it's not only for the sales, but if you use the other applications like service or the other applications, you will also comes to this kind of security layer. Now, so these are the different building blocks of the security. Like what are the different types of building blocks you have got? You have the teams, you have the business unit, security role, column level security, access teams, and the hierarchy security. So I'm going to discuss each and every in the details. So first of all, if I talk about the business unit, so business unit is basically, if you so basically the security boundaries for the users for access and privileges to organization data. So it is a kind of distribution of the department. So for example, if you have if you're working in an organization and you want like the there is a two different department, the sales department and the service department, and there's a marketing department, and all their department has their access to their own data. They should not be accessible by the other department data within the same organization and within the same team, right? So sometimes if you have such kind of requirements, then you use the business unit, because your security roles also linked with the basis of the business unit. As I talking about the security roles, so basically security roles are nothing. It is just a group of permission that you can assign to a user to grant them access and various capabilities and functionality like read, delete, edit records on the table. So security role basically decide like what data, what operation you can perform on a particular data. Either you can read, delete, edit, or whatever operation you can perform. You can create your own security role, or you can use the out of box security roles as well. Okay, so there are list of security roles available in your Power Platform environment. So it's always recommended, first of all, you should look all the out of box security role you have got specific to the app. For example, if you're using sales app, then you have dedicated sales related roles available. For example, salesperson, sales manager, some other service related roles are also available. So you have to use those. But if you want to create your own, it is always recommended that you create the clone or the copy of the existing security role instead of creating the whole role from the scratch. But sometimes you have to create the whole role from the scratch as well. So be careful about that, because sometimes you have to provide some additional privileges that you are not aware about it, and you end up facing a lot of security related issues. So it's always recommended, if you are creating security role from scratch, some default permission you have to provide for all the components in the resources. So this is in the security role. You have two features mainly: privileges and the access level. Privileges means what operation you can perform on a particular data, like create, read, write, delete, append to, assign, and share. Append and append to basically used to associate the child and parent record with each other. So that is basically used for that purpose. Access level basically decide like what kind of access level you will get. So for example, I will get the I have the privilege to delete the data. But what kind of access level? For example, if I have the delete access of user level, that means I can delete my own data. I am not allowed to delete any other data. Business unit means I am allowed to delete all the data that belongs to my department or my business unit. Okay. For example, I'm working in a sales team where five different co-workers works with me, right? So other co-worker data, I can also delete it. Parent child business unit means I can delete my business unit data and also the subordinates, all the child business unit data as well. The organization means I have the access to delete all the data. All the organization data means my organization data. I forgot to mention one more, that is none. None means you are not allowed to delete any of the level of data. So for example, if delete and I set to none, that means you are not allowed to delete any level of data, right? Now, if you create the security role, you have access to provide the different kind of security roles. So you can provide the row level security, you can provide the form level security, column level security, and the app level security. So row level security means you are restricting the data or the rows that is being stored in the dataverse. What row I can delete, for example, lead, opportunity data, product data, quotations, orders. So these kind of security you can provide on the data level. Form level means sometimes you are creating the model driven app forms and you want to hide and show the forms based on the security. For example, if the sales representative opening the lead, then they will see the different form of the lead. But if the sales manager open the lead, they will see a different form. Okay. So that is called a form level security. Column level security, sometimes you have to store some sensitive information that you have to hide from the specific users. So in that case, you can enable the column level security as well. App level security. So as I've told, like you will get the different types of apps. For example, Sales Hub, Sales Enterprise. You can have your custom applications as well. And sometimes you want to restrict those apps from the different group of users or the different users. So you can provide the app level security in that case as well. Okay. So as you can see, like if I go to the environment, so you can see like I already have the app opened here. So if I go here and you can see like for a specific app, if I go to the manage roles, you can select all those roles from here like this. So for example, like right now, this app is available for all the users for the system admin and system customizer. But if you want to provide for the specific user like service readers, service writers, and save it, so you can allow these specific user to access this app as well. Okay, so this is how you can provide the app level access, and all the security related features you will get it in the admin center itself. So if you go to the environment and if you go to the trial environment, in the right panel, you see you can manage your users from here. You can manage your business unit from here. You can manage your security roles from here. So if you go to the security role, as I said, you have got some list of out-of-box security role, which is connected with the business unit. Okay. So all the security rules are always connected with the business unit. This is how the security works. So you will always get some default security role, and you can see like sales manager and sales team member. So some sales related, the salesperson, vice president, and these out of box roles you will get it. But if you want to create your own role, it's always recommended to copy the existing role. For example, if you click on the sales manager, you can click on copy and can provide your custom role, and then it will create a new role, and then you can change or customize as per your need. All right. All right. So if I go to the next topic, the hierarchical security is also one of the kind of security where it basically control the access to the data based on the organization structure. Because sometimes you see like if you're working in an organization, you see there is a hierarchy of users or the positions. For example, if you can see in the right picture, there is a hierarchy in your organization. There is a CEO, and there are some vice president of sales and the services who report to CEO, and then the sales managers, service managers, and then the sales representative and the support agents, right? So this kind of hierarchy you have to provide the security. So basically the hierarchy security comes in two flavor. The first is manager hierarchy. So in the manager hierarchy, imagine there is a sales team where John is the sales manager and the Sarah and Mike report to him. Okay. So that means John can see and manage the records owned by the Sarah and Mike because he is their manager. The main thing here is they should belong to the same department or the business unit. That is basically the manager hierarchy. So if you have got such kind of hierarchical related to the security, then you can provide the hierarchical security as well, where the manager can directly access the data of all the subordinates or all the users who belongs to or who reports to him. The second kind of hierarchical security is the position hierarchy. Okay. So for example, like in the same company, there are positions like the sales manager, the salesperson, and the sales executive. And the sales manager can wants to view the data owned by the sales representatives, sales executives, even if they are belongs to the different departments or the teams. This is called the position hierarchy. So basically the difference between the position and the the manager hierarchy is, in the position hierarchy, the top level person in the position can access the data if you are belong to the different business unit or the different departments, unlike the manager hierarchy. All right. So this is the special kind of security. You can also use it in the Dynamics 365 sales. There are some of the standard security rules also available. As I said, like there are list of security rules available, but there are few important security rules. For example, the first is system administrator. So system administrator basically provide you full permissions and the most access to the data and the configuration. So if you have the system admin role, that means you can do anything in the environment. That is the most highest privilege access you have got it. Okay. You can do anything. You have the full privilege to read, write, delete the data. Okay. System customizer, it also provide you the full access to all the custom tables and the row level privileges of some variety. Okay. Environment admin, this environment admin role basically perform all the kind of administrative actions on a particular environment, like the resources and the component. But in order to have the access to the Dataverse data, it needs to have the system customizer role. Okay. So that means environment, if you have the environment admin role, that doesn't mean that you have the access to the Dataverse data. Okay. So in order to have the data, in order to have the access to the Dataverse data, you need to have the system administrator or system customizer role. And the last one is the environment maker. These are the role basically that let you create the new resources associated with the environment. There are a list of other roles as well, but these are the most four important roles that you need to understand because they are related to the admin related activities. Okay. Now, access checker. This is a very important feature. Sometimes you try to perform some operations in the Dataverse, but you are not allowed to do that. So you, as a user, wants to check like what are the permission I have on a particular record. Since you are not the administrator, it might not be possible every time that you are the admin in your environment. So if you are not the administrator, you are not allowed to go to the Power Platform Admin Center and check like what access I have. Okay. So as a user, what you can do it, you can simply go to the environment, in an app. So imagine you're working on the leads or the data. So for example, if I go to the leads and I'm not able to perform any, delete operation, or I'm not able to qualify the lead, or I'm not able to create the lead. So in that case, I can simply open a particular record. For example, I'll open this record And there is an option called check access. Okay, so if I go to the three uh, dots, click on check access, and here you can find the information about what kind of access you have. Okay, so right now I have the system administrator role and I have directly assigned. What does this mean? Because I have directly assigned the system administrator role, sometimes uh, the role can be assigned indirectly. For example, like I am a part of a team and the team has a particular role. So in that case, I will get the indirectly access to that particular data. But this time I have directly access. I'm not part of any team. I belongs to this business unit and I have the access label of read, write, delete, and everything, right? And who has access? So some other users who are has the same access will get the list here, right? Create, delete, and also this is the way how you can quickly check and tell your administrator or manager that this is the reason why I can't access it, right? So this is the way how you can simply check like what are the access level you have got simply. Okay, now the second last topic is the teams and the queues. Okay, now what is the significance of using teams and the queues? Okay, so teams, as you know, like it is a group of users who work together for an extended period of time or the temporarily. Okay, sometimes you have to create the teams for temporary purpose, or sometimes you have to team to work together, right? Sometimes, for example, like imagine you are working in a the sales department where the group of users are working on a particular you are working on a particular leads part, right? So, for example, the leads which are coming through campaign will work by a particular team. The leads who are coming through the phone calls will have a dedicated team. The leads coming through the website will be handled by a dedicated team, and that team will have a group of users. Now, the advantage of using teams in the Dynamic 365 sales is if the record is assigned or if record is owned by the individual user, only that user will be having access to the data sometimes, right? Based on the security model you have set up. But if that particular record or the data is assigned to a team, that means everyone in that team can work on it. So someone is so for example, the one coworker is working is let's say on the vacation, they are not available, so the other users can pick that up and can start working on, right? So this is the advantage of using teams in the Dynamics 365 sales. Okay, and there are different types of teams available based on the business need. The first type of teams is the owner teams. Owner teams, as the name indicates, uh, you know you can the rows owned by the group of user instead of the individual user, means the owner team can be the owner of a particular record in a dataverse. Okay, so you need to have the teams available at the design time so that you can assign those teams or create those teams and assign it to the particular dataverse record. So since you can assign a particular record to the teams, so that means you have to provide the security roles as well. So these are the specific feature the owner team can own the record and they can have the security role assigned them. Okay. The second type of teams are called access teams. So access teams need to be dynamically formed. So basically, the main objective of using access teams is basically sharing. So if you have worked on the earlier version of the Dataverse or the Dynamics 365 ever, you had to use the sharing feature of it, and it used to create a data entry in the POA table. It's a principal object access table in the Dataverse. But nowadays we have the access team features available. So whenever you have to share a particular data, you have to deal with the access team. So basically, you have the two kind of team: owner team that basically take care of the ownership of the data and you can assign the security role to them. But the access team is only used for sharing the data. You can't have the owner as the access team and you can't assign the security role to this team. Okay. The third kind of team is the Microsoft Entra ID group team. Okay, so this is a special kind of team where Microsoft Entra ID group team similar to a owner team. That means it can also own the data available in the Dataverse, and you can also assign them the security role as well. Now, the advantage of using Microsoft Entra ID group team is, well, whenever a user is added to a Microsoft Entra ID group, that is a security group, that user is automatically added to the Dataverse. As I said initially, you have the security group that you can assign it to the environment. Sometimes this is very helpful when you have to when you have to do the user management, right? Someone in your admin team, some of the employees are joining in the team, and you have to provide them license. You have to onboard in your Dataverse or in the Dynamics 365. If they are leaving the organization, you have to remove their licenses. You have to remove them from the Dataverse. It's a quite a hectic job, right? So managing it to the Microsoft Entra ID user group team, that means if someone new employee is joining, you just directly go to the Active Directory, you just add that user in that specific Entra ID group, it will automatically sync to the Dataverse. Okay, and then you have to provide the security rule to the security group. Now you have the queues option also available, and queues are nothing. It's just a container that is basically used to organize, prioritize, and monitoring your tasks, your activities, your cases. If you're using the Dynamics 365 service, and if you're using the Dynamics 365 sales, then there are a lot of purpose or the objective of using queues. So basically, it used to organize or prioritize your tasks, that helps your team members, your team managers to workload efficiently. Okay, it is not only used to assign the work in a organized way, but it also helps and organize the customer email efficiently by routing them to the specific team members. Okay, there are many examples. You can use it as a queue for Dynamics 365 sales. For example, like you can create a queue where all the incoming leads are routed here for initial follow-up. You can create a queue for new leads. You can create the queue for qualified leads. You can create the queue for opportunities. You can create the queue for the follow-up queues, right? So it is a basically collection of all the data, and you can create it based on your specific needs, right? So this is also one of the example of using queues in the Dynamics 365 sales. Last is the mailbox setup. So as you know, like in the Dynamics 365C, whether you are using sales, service, or marketing, whichever module you are using, you have to use the email communications, right? And that email communication is quite useful whenever you have to send an email or you have to receive an email. So if I go to the admin center, environments, sales trial, need to check like where exactly settings. So if you can go to the email, so go to the environments, go to the settings, and then if you see the email, and there is a mailbox option here. This mailbox is still take you to the classic because that is still being developed in the new environment or the new unified view. So mailbox is basically help you sending or receiving the emails. So for example, like if you have to set up a new mailbox, I have already a mailbox set up for me, and here you need to provide the email address from which you have to send an email, on which you have to receive the email, and then you have the server profile. So server profile is nothing, it's just a middleware. So you just send an email to mailbox, mailbox send an email to Microsoft Exchange Online, and Microsoft Exchange Online send an email to the recipient. So basically this acts like as a middleware. So mailbox, there are a couple of ways to do the email communication in the Dynamics 365 sales. The first is the mailbox. The second is the Power Automate, where you have got the Outlook connector. But sometimes there are some of the limitations, like when you use the Outlook connector, you don't get the emails tracked in your Dynamics 365. Okay, but if you are using the mailbox, if you are sending the email through the Dynamics 365 sales, your all the emails communication will stored in the Dataverse as an email activity. Okay, so for example, if I go to the activities, you have the email activities available. So if you are using the mailbox available in the Dataverse to send or receive the email, you will see the email as an activity here, the subject, the attachment, the regarding and everything. So you can go to a specific record, go to the timeline, and you can see that tracking available here. But if you are using, the Outlook, that will directly send an email through the Outlook connector, and that will not track in the Dataverse. Okay, you have to create a new step, a Dataverse step, to create it as an activity in the Dataverse. All right. So basically, this is the main purpose of using Mailbox. So in the Dynamics 365 sales, Mailbox is basically is a configuration that basically allows Dynamics 365 user to send and receive the emails on behalf of users, queues, or the organization. As I said, like when you set up the Mailbox, you have to. So I'll just quickly show that as well. So whenever you have to set up the mailbox, so if I open this mailbox, this is linked to a particular queue. So if I go here, so because whenever you will receive an email, so here it is. So this is the user that I'm using, and each user can have a dedicated queue. So for example, if I go down, there is a queue. Here you can see like I am the queue, I am the member of these queues, but you can have your own queue as well, where you want to receive all the emails and from where you want to send an email to the user. Okay, so if I open up the default queue that is set to my user, you can see here I can set the queue as a private or as a public. Private means it belongs to only me. I can only use it. No one can else in my organization can use my queue for the email communication. And here you can provide your own email address where you can receive the emails on that queue. Okay, and then here you can assign the mailbox. So there could be a dedicated email box individual to the queue, or you could have the common email box for the multiple users or the queues, because sometimes you want to receive the email on a common email address like support at the rate maybe thepowercommunity.com or sales at the rate powercommunity.com, something like that. So where you want like all the emails should land in the common email, then in that case, you can do this kind of settings. Okay. So this is all about the mailbox that you can use for the email communication, tracking email, and for the appointment scheduling. And that's it for from my side. I know like there are a lot of things in the Dynamics 365 sales, but I wish you a good learning throughout the day. So Narayan will take care of the deep dive session of all the Dynamics 365 sales related stuff. But if you have any question, I can take that up from the chat. And if you want to connect me after this session, you can always get in touch with me on my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn called Arpit Power Guide. So thank you so much. And over to you, Raj.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Arpit. Now we'll hand over straight over to Narayan now. He will show you the application. So he will actually show you the core sales fundamentals application functionality. We hope you've got a lot of great conceptual understanding now of Dynamics as a platform. So without further ado, Narayan, for those people who don't know who Narayan is actually a Microsoft, not only a Microsoft certified trainer, but he's also the regional lead for the Microsoft certified training, right? So he's been involved in delivering training for a very long time, but not only that, he's also responsible for some of the largest and most complex Dynamics implementations in the world, and he's got 100% success rate in his Dynamics implementations. So it's a huge honor to have Narayan here today. So Narayan, without further ado, over to you. So just let you know, Narayan, you're still on mute.
How about now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Raz. And thank you, Arpit, for explaining all the detailed information about how the security and the environments and everything works. So I believe everyone a little bit overwhelmed with lots of information. So I'll try and keep it more simple and let's keep it more driven by the environment itself or the actual application itself. I do have lots of slides as well, but we will try and skip it because I'm kind of now eating Baris's time, and Baris' session is going to be a very interesting one as well. So let's start with this. So few of the things, Raz already given the introduction. So yeah, I got about nearly 25, 27 years of experience, 15 plus years of architecture, and implemented plenty of implementations in Dynamics 365, Power Platform, Copilot nowadays as well, and AI, custom AI. So lots going on at the moment. I now stopped counting my projects, so that's why it happens. And I wish every one of you will be in that same position in coming years. So we got a lot of potential in these products, and that needs to be spread across. So we can use a lot of things and solve plenty of business issues or the problems they're having in a day-to-day life. So that's something we can do. Yeah. So that was my introduction on the screen. So I'll skip it quickly on this one. So let's go through a few things. So sales, as Raz also mentioned, and Arpit mentioned in his demo as well. So sales is one of the first-party application. It's been developed by Microsoft. So we have a sales, customer service, we got field service, and so on. So these are the application developed or the built on top of the Power Platform functionality. So whatever Arpit has mentioned about the security layer and also the environment layer pretty much follows the same pattern in all this other type of environment. Not to be confused with other Dynamics 365 products like Business Central or Finance and Operations. They are a little bit different, but they're also a part of the Dynamics 365 group because they're all considered as a business application. So considering we have the mixed audience, some of them are pretty new and some has already got the experience. So excuse for if I'm repeating some of the stuff which you already know, it's just going to be a refresher. But I want to try and keep it as the title suggests of in terms of my session is a fundamental. So I'll try and keep it more fundamental rather than going more into technical or the development side of it. Excuse me. So it's a model-driven app, the Dynamics 365 cells, and it comes with multiple flavors inside it, which Arpita has already mentioned. So I'm not going to go into the deep dive on that one. Why do we need a cell set? So that's a kind of a basic question we ask. So tomorrow you're going to go into your workplace or the customer site. You will be given a challenge to implement Dynamics 365 cells. The first question you're going to ask yourself, what should I ask them to implement it? So you're going to start asking them, how your sales processes are working. Not every organization works in a similar pattern, but there are commonality. There are some areas, element, it's common throughout the in a multiple organization. What will happen is everyone collects information about the potential sales, a potential customer. So what they define as, some say as a lead, some say as prospect. It's just a different name they use, but the process is pretty much falls into the similar kind of patterns. Once you have that lead generated in Dynamics 365 cells, we're going to use the name as a lead. Yeah. So lead, opportunity, those are kind of word. So I'll little bit skip into all of this, this sales product Arpit has already covered up. I got about 80 plus slides. So let me just try and skip some of the stuff. So here are the key tables, I would call it, or the areas we need to have a good understanding to implement Dynamics 365 cells. So we need to understand customer, and let's park the customer for now. So we're going to talk about lead and opportunity. So lead is where somebody come to you. If you are a salesperson and somebody come to you, oh, you got interesting product. How does it work? You got interesting services. How would I get more information about it? How it's going to solve my problems? So when those interests are shown, That's you have to record those information somewhere to actually nurture it. So you will start the journey with lead creation. So once the lead creation has happened, you go the further discussion, you book an appointments, have a demos of your system, a lot of in terms of leaflet or the brochure you send out, or even some of the basic stuff is give them a trial access, and they actually literally expand more information. At those stages you will understand that okay, customer is now showing, or the lead is now showing more interest, you need to convert into opportunity. Once the opportunity gets converted, then customer will show interest and say, oh, okay, can I have a quote? And if the quote looks good, everything is fine. There are multiple negotiation happens on the quote. In the real life example, it's not straightforward. So how would you repeat those iterations? How would you create a different versions of the quote? And once the customer is happy with a quote, how can you convert that into order? And in this process, there are some concepts as well, like in terms of the product. You need to have a product, and that product could be a physical product, it could be a digital product, it could be a service. So in a many form it comes, because the real life is not that easy. So you need to adopt those services and the product in a common way, in a common environment, and this is what the Dynamics 365 sales is good for. So once the order is confirmed, it converts into the invoice. So these are the typical process we follow. And we go into some of the different features which we don't want to touch more into. A few of the things I would like to mention which hasn't been mentioned about the Excel and Word integration. So in a sales process, you love to do a lot of things into the Excel, manipulating the data, looking into how can I make my sales more effective than the other person. So that's where they manipulate the data, they extract the data, import the data, and so on. And I would need the Word because I like to send out some brochures, customized or PDF files. Or maybe in a simple example, invoice has to be in a different quote has to be in a different format. So if I want to customize, that's where these office tools are going to be really helpful for you. Okay. There are other implementation areas where the out-of-the-box integrations available, like Teams, Copilot, and so on. We will see a few of the things, but not in a deep dive. Just to let you know, this fundamental itself as a MCT, we teach this course. It's an intense 2-day course, which you looking for 16 hours intense course. And also if you want to spread across it's a 4 hours each day, then you will be looking at 4 days minimum. We're trying to cover this in about 35-40 minutes, so I will try my best to explain as much as possible in this one. So we got this the process, which kind of understood as is from the previous step. But if you do have any question, please do post into Teams chat, and one of us will reply back to you. So we talked about customer. I did ask you that let's park the customer. So what is a customer? Customer can be your simple, who's actually buying a product off you or buying a service off you. But in the customer record, I can maintain two separate type of data, which is one is called accounts and contact. Here it says accounts, but accounts in a simple term is organization or company or top level company. You can maintain that hierarchy over there. So in that account will have multiple people who you can contact. It could be the person who's actually making a sales decision. It could be a person who's actually paying the invoices. It could be a group of person or stakeholders that making a decision. So there are many kind of combination can happen. That's why you need to have a customer created as an account, and then multiple people associated with that accounts called contacts can be created within the system as well. We'll see some some of the areas in that one, so it can be easily explainable. This is more the lead creation process and everything. So It's a beautifully laid out guided process which we call a business process flow, BPF. So if someone is mentioning that, then you don't need to confuse. It's more like a guided, tells you these are the different stages you need to perform, these are the different type of areas you need to approve or validate or go through a certain area of checks before you move on to the next stage. And these stages, in other sense, it's quite important, helpful for the reporting purposes as well. So you like to see how my lead is doing. Are they still in a qualifying stage? Are they in a development stage? Is someone working on it? So there are a lot of things you can actually report back into it. So this is a kind of a typical sales process. So if you want to take a screenshot of it, please feel free to do it before I flick over. So it's simple, you identify a lead, and the lead capture can happen in a multiple sources, so multiple channels. Does anyone know what are the type of channels? Let's make it a little bit interactive, but we need to be more quick. So let me give you an example. One channel, it could be a phone call. I get a phone call and say, I'm interested in your product or services. What other channel would you be interested in? What you think, it could have your sales generated from? Email, fantastic. Newsletter, inquiries, brilliant. As SMS, haven't seen much, but yeah, SMS could be one of them. Web inquiry, social media, fantastic. Everyone's pretty much knows a lot of things on that. Face-to-face networking, yes, absolutely. And when it comes to the face-to-face networking, it actually reminds you about the events. Events is the one of the key area. If you have been part of one of those events, I have been part of many events, and it's very intense in terms of the sales. What would you do if you have 10 people standing in a queue inquiring about your product? You cannot let them wait for hours and hours. So you want to capture the basic information, their interest, their subject of inquiry and everything, and then you can actually fulfill that automatically or manually afterwards. I'll describe how automatically and manually you can actually do that. But in between, if you go into some of the areas, this is event is the one of the best example where I have plenty of people reaching out to me asking for the inquiry. They actually maybe sometimes they don't have time because there are hundreds of different booths and they wants to go and visit them, so they might hand over their visiting card. So Dynamics 365 Sales has a capability of scanning a business card, extract the information, put it into as a lead, and create it in no time. So that's what you're looking for. This is what you call a system. It solves your problem as well. And you can trigger some of the automation in the background. It's again, it's a SaaS product, so it can be you probably in the one of the event in maybe US, your head office is in UK, and your team literally monitoring what's coming in, and they could be acting maybe scheduling calls, appointments, sending out literature, or you can automate it. So you can pretty much write Power Automate flows, or you can write kind of a run book, and you can create multiple tasks. If you have a standard process in your organization, example, as soon as lead is created, I like to create a multiple task. So first task is gather all the literature I needed for this particular type of inquiry. Two, try and arrange a call if there is a phone number available. Yeah, that's another way of. If there is an email address, let's put them into some sorts of customer insight journey, and throw them out on the marketing way so they can send out more information. And based on all the number of information provided, and if your lead is calculated as a high value lead, then you want to book an telephonic interview, or the phone call, or probably a visit to the customer. Say when can I come and see you and say hello and explain about my product and services. Excuse me. So that's a way it this journey actually works, and that's how how Dynamics 365 Sales can actually support you in that one. So there are standard processes are available out of the box. So as soon as you spin up trial version or any environment your sandbox environment, you will see those tables, forms, views, everything created, number of flows, Power Automate flows. It could be some of the reports, dashboards. It's all available. Why? This is a first party application and it gives you that base start or vanilla version. But that's not only it. You can actually go and customize according to your need. So you can add more fields, more views, more business logic and flows, even customize the BPF. And according to that BPF, you can actually do further amendments to satisfy your customers or your internal organization's need. So the process typically falls into the qualify, develop, propose, close, and fulfill. You will once you qualify, it goes into the like opportunity. Opportunity also has a qualification area. Once the qualification happens and it's everything is going on a happy scenario, your existing contact or create a new one, create a quote, you get the quote acceptance. It can fall, your lead or the sales process can fall at any stage. It can get disqualified or it can be lost due to various reasons. So that failure happens in any stage. But then once you create the order and fulfill the order happens, then you create the invoice. You might have a question that Dynamics 365 cell, how does it apply with the order fulfillment? Probably not. It's not inside you. That's why you might need to do the integration with your FNO or another system which actually logistics are handled. You can also do like, and if it is a smaller company and you don't have FNO or the ERP implemented, you can actually plug that back into some of the logistics system to get that like, the fulfillment has happened. So these are the kind of like, flows, leads, forms there. But this is all looking boring for me. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump onto the actual system and see it. A few things I just wanted to show you, like business card scanner. This is what it's look like because I'm not going to demonstrate that today. I haven't got mobile app configured, which actually I can show you. But in future sessions, we can certainly do that. There are validation elements and there are a lot of other things. So if time permits, I will take you through like some of the slides. But let's jump on to the actual demo environment. So bear with me a minute. Here we go. So excuse me. I also spinned up this environment just about 2 hours ago. Click of a button, environment got created. It's a trial version, comes with a good chunk of data. You might have some of the dashboards are empty. What you need to do, just follow the process. Like, I would say like, just to get this environment ready, follow this number of steps. It will give you some guidance and actually like you can fulfill some of the information. So example, pipeline by stage might come up empty in a trial version, but once you go through that pipeline area, it will just recalculate all elements and then get you all the dashboard area. So looking at the environment, this is our sales app, one of the app. So here, as Arpit mentioned, like you have a multiple application, so you can actually have a sales app, then you have a sales hub, you have a team member. So there are different type of applications available. Before flicking into the other application, let's try and understand this application, how that works. So you have a dashboard. You can create your new dashboard yourself. You can give permission to a customer, train them up so they can create the dashboard themselves. So you can just click on a Dynamics 365 dashboard. If they are expert in Power BI and the Power BI environment is available, go into the setting, make sure you enable the Power BI, and that will appear here. So that's you need to enable it manually. So that's a one area. Then you have dashboards, which gives you all the information, but also like, you have a granular information. So you can actually click on the show all, take you through the like, the sales accelerator, because that chart was mapped with the accelerator. So here you can have a lot of detailed information about what is like, that lead is, how many leads I have got, what is the BPF look like, business process flow, which stage they are on, what are the details, what's my next this is like kind of a nurturing process I've defined. So this is what I can configure and say, okay, every lead I have generated for this particular criteria, I want to send them introductory email. I want to send them reminder email if not replied back. I want to call customer. I want to say them thank you email. I want to schedule a meeting. So you can actually unify your sales process in your organization as well by doing this. excuse me, we might not have enough time to actually go and actually create a new nurturing process, but simply you can click on a new lead nurturing, go through the process and define the step. So it's quite easy to actually maintain and configure it. Okay, we're not going to go into that detail at the moment. My favorite part, Copilot just popped in. Okay, so these are the kind of data you can actually see. I'm just going to go back to dashboard again. So here I have a chart. Some of the informations are available here. You might see some of the icons which you need to tell your users, the customers who's using the system or the sales representative that they can actually explore that record by clicking this button only. So they have a chart. They have all the list of information. They have their related forms available. So it has allow enhance a lot. So I'm not sure how many of you have seen Dynamics 365 sales 2011 version, 2013 version. And if you look at it now, it's simple. Wow, it's a lot of information available. The interface has changed. A lot of things are available here now. Okay, enough talk about dashboards and everything. So you can play around, spin up a trial version. If you are new to it, play around with each and every icon. Don't afraid of breaking the system. Click on it. Just click and explore and understand how that's working. So now we're jumping on to a few of the quick activity details and then the core area of the pipelines area. So calendar is quite useful too. I can see all my appointments, everything synchronized. You can sync this with your Outlook as well. So you can see those information directly in Outlook as well. So it's synced. Also, it can appear in your mobile app as well. So out of the box, Microsoft provides a sales app. You may like it, you may not like it, but it's quite good. It actually doesn't. On the go, you can actually do your sales processes or the satisfaction of all your requirement. You have multiple task calls. Tasks now available in the Kanban style mode. So how many tasks are open, completed, cancel. Quite easy drag and drop features are available. So you can actually literally look at it. If it is a completed, do I want to mark as a completed or cancelled? I can supply the stages. I can also, if depends on the record type, if it is an opportunity type, before closing or canceling, I can introduce new fields as well. That is also a setting which you need to enable. Okay, I'm just going to cancel this for now. Excuse me. Not going through new record creations and everything. Excuse me, which is very simple to explain. But so I'm going to skip looking at the time limitation. In the cells, there is a one call history feature, which is brilliant. I absolutely love it. Now the trial has been spinned up, has a premium features on, just to remind you. So if you are spinning up enterprise edition, enterprise licensing, you might not have this feature. So make sure you have that premium feature enabled to look at it. Why it's different? Because if you go into a standard feature, you will have simple a call record, which is who did I call and call from who other people from my team has joined, or the other people from the customer side joined. What are the outcome of that detail, what we discussed, and so on. If I have a Copilot enabled, I can literally record that call summary and inject back into it. I have something different here. So if I'm going to go into the record, let me just open it back again. Excuse me. So if I open that phone call record, you will see something different interface here. What is it showing me? It's showing me all my lead information, what follow-up I have done. I have any kind of tagging I want to do for the search mechanism, for the my reporting perspective. I can start tagging that introduction or anything other tags, say coffee machine. Say airport is the coffee machine they're interested in. I can actually put it down, all the tags and everything. I have a transcript available. May not be too comprehensive, but it's more accurate. It's getting better and better. Let me tell you that way. And it has a call recording with the sentimental element. So wherever you see the green, it's a positive, neutral, red is negative, and you can listen into the call as well. Maybe not sharing the audio. Share sound.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes, we
this is
can hear
Jeremy Johnson from Contoso Coffee.
I
Do you
hope
have a
you can
minute to
hear it.
follow up on your interest in our coffee machines?
Yeah, I'm heading to a meeting soon, but I have a few minutes.
All right. Are you interested in our link and offer you a discount? Let me check if I can take an additional $70 off each machine.
Well, Contoso's coffee machines are more expensive. I'd have to see if it meets our budget.
I understand. From Contoso Coffee. Do you have a minute to
So-
follow up on your interest in our coffee machines?
Just need to close that
Yeah,
call.
I'm heading to a meeting soon, but I have a few minutes.
It still plays in the background.
All right.
So
Are you interested in our latest AirPot XL series coffee machine offerings and their specifications?
Yes, but to be honest, I'm already looking at coffee machines by Force Coffee and Relic Cloud, and they're more reasonably priced.
I understand.
Okay, I'll just stop it by refreshing it. So make sure you don't close it. You just pause it and then close it. There are history remains into it, and it's still a trial version. But this is a fantastic feature. Like, I can actually literally try, like, listen to that call again afterwards, and also the transcript. And this is as a part of, like, some of the team's integration functionality. So these are the other features that are available, but also you have a standard form available which actually tells you the subject of the phone call, who you called from, excuse me, who did you call, what's the number you called, and the direction of the call, and some of the notes you might have made. So these are the kind of, like, fantastic features that are available. With the Teams integration, it also pops up with a note kind of a section, so it's brilliant to see. And it's kind of very, really useful. Now we're going to jump on to leads. So I now have somebody contacted me and I like to create a new lead. As I described, that could be the different channel the leads coming in, but once it's been created into the system, and how would I create is, like, just simply click on new, fill in the form. The quick form comes up. You can see the scan business card option is available. It's not going to work here right now, but leave it. I can mention the topic, information, and say, so this is a demo lead. And I can actually select that if they have mentioned about the purchase timeline, that means it's going to add a little bit into the scoring. Say, like, okay, if I have a purchase timeline, I have the contact detail, I have that budget, I can actually make that configuration to make the lead score calculated in a positive manner. If I have those details, means like I need to concentrate more because I have enough information to continue on this lead. So I can say, like, okay, it's going to be this quarter. It's not going to be the hot, because if I have stayed immediate, it's going to be super, super hot. If I have going for this quarter, I can actually go on, like, say I got a little bit breathing time, but it's still like kind of a warm lead. Excuse me. I can put down, like, in terms of the lead source information, say, like, say seminar, it came from demo lead. And then I can put down job title if I have a company name, demo limited, demo at demo.com, and the mobile number. I can put down any number there, any description, and do a save and close. What will happen when I do save and close? It just tells me, one, it's created here, but also shows me, like, in a view record option. It just is going to be a toast, so you can configure how long you want to actually keep that toast on. But once it's there, you can start working on the further things here. Now, if you have the pipeline created, you can actually simply create those activity in due course. But what else you can do? You can start creating those activities yourself as well, if you need to introduce some of the additional activity to nurture this lead. As you go along, and it takes some time, some of the area now, these are the new features available from the Copilot. So it does the suggestion based on your previous data entry. It's not that accurate in the sales implementation. I have seen not many people like it, so they just either use this button, clear all suggestion, or accept suggestion. I'll simply do clear because it's not my US lead, it's going to be UK lead. So I can put down that United Kingdom. Okay. And I can just save this lead. Slowly, what will happen? It will just capture all the information, all the calculation, the workflow will trigger, and it will start rating the information. Now, if you remember, I didn't mention anywhere if this is a cold, hot, or warm lead, but you can see it's already rating form because I filled in some of the information. And that information is actually helping me to identify how important is this lead to work on. And then I have like qualify, disqualify options, and so on. The connect to a sequence. This is what the sequence is. So I can connect to a standard sequence. So lead nurturing sequence. This is what I have created. I can connect, and in due course, it will create all the relevant activities and everything which I need. Yeah. So after I come back to the record, I can see that. Let me open up one of the record which already have number of elements. So say, for example, highlight refits has all the sequence of the records are available. The details has been filled in. More details means more important lead is for you. Excuse me. That's more like a typical sales processes. But anyway, these are the element. If you go on a holiday, you can assign this lead to your colleague and just give it to them and say, can you please work on it, user or team, and I can just assign them a team member, and that lead will be allocated to them. Okay, enough said about the lead. Now, I can actually generate this element here, so if I go back into the lead, let me just show you another feature, which I'm sure many of you have seen it, probably haven't used it. Okay, let it load. Let's finish. There's a new little icon appears here. Apart from the Excel import functionalities here, visualize this view. I haven't created any Power BI report. Excuse me, Power BI report or anything, but I can start working on the BI report straight from the application. It will create one of those standard report which has pretty much same look and feel, but it gives you some of the features of Power BI, which is a filtration features, some of the natural language query features. It's available straight away. So here you can have a pre-select data is already selecting from the lead, which is the source, and it tells me my report is ready. It's going to be I can click on the view report and go into that and start working on those report, and you can see I haven't done anything. Click of a button. I can now see it. I can also add names, topics, and that will include into the report. And that's how it adopts dynamically. Again, this is something you don't want to invest a lot of time and effort to building up a report. And this is kind of more than enough for your sales and business processes to actually continue. Then this is what you can use. Okay. Other feature I just wanted to show while before I move into that, I have Excel export to Excel. Sometimes you might have a DLP options available, data loss prevention, and some sorts of PII information, the protection, regulation, compliance needs to be enabled. Purview has maybe configured, and it's you want to stop people downloading that information into their local laptop. Fine, perfect. You can still work on it. There is an option now open in Excel online. What you can do, it's plugged in with your Microsoft 365 subscription. So those features, and you can still use most of them. I don't want to say all of them, but most of the Excel capabilities down here. You can also manipulate data, and I can just say, okay, oh, I spelled it wrong. Lavona, it was Lavoni or something like that. So example, and I can just save that record. Behind the scene, for the experienced people who have been experienced with this Excel import functionality, it still goes into the jobs and does the data import job. But it's just the headache is gone for the field mapping and other stuff. So if I hit save, what it will do, it will start creating that job. Excuse me. So it submits it, imports it. You can go into track progress, and that's where you will see the one record change will appear at some point. Now, this is all you can put into your user's hand. You don't have to do it as a developer. So this is like, you can wow them saying like, okay, if you are a salesperson, you can now use it. It takes some time, it depending on like, it's already says 17 process, but it goes through like, it takes some of the like, time, and then it's still passing element. Don't want to wait too much, but it just does that job and like, updates a record. It gives you that. If there are any error, it gives you like, what is the error, what conflict has been created. Okay. So now in terms of the lead, once I qualify this lead, that everything is looking good, fine, account is this, contact is this, and it's already started creating all the information what I need. Excuse me. And then I click on opportunity. Just quick time check, kind of running a little bit over, but let me just show you a few features quickly, and then we can close this session. So here I have created this contact like, by qualifying the lead, opportunity, lead qualification criteria. This is all the Copilot feature is available now. So it actually tells me that there are stakeholders involved is Hal Griffiths. The lead pertains to a long-term lease for 20 coffee machines and so on, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. Now, once I qualified, it becomes a read-only here. And because now it's turned into the opportunity. But here I can reactivate the lead just in case accidentally I have qualified mistakes happens. So in this one, I have like, that I'm in a development stage, but I'm not sure how many of you notice it's changed from lead to opportunity here. I'm still here in the lead section, but it just give me the seamless working process. Also, this process has changed on the the stage now on the develop side. Also, I have a quotes and products available because now I can start putting all the products against it. So I can see all my relationship analytics, which I had from the lead. I can now start building up quotes. And this is where I'm now leaning into the quote process. So customer has shown interest into the multiple products, and the products which they would like to have either leased maybe the service or anything related to that one, how you have configured the system. You can just simply click on add product excuse me, and say I want to add this product, I want to add this product. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cyril. So yeah, I'd like to explain a little bit. I'm just conscious about time. So I can just use a multiple product, save to quote here. I did added a one quantity. If you just see in it here, that you can actually add more quantity here. So if I want to add any of the product, I just want to make sure I'm adding another product and say 5 of the quantity here. Save to quote. And that's how it becomes like in total. So let me try and see if I can, by adding this new feature, sometime it just gives you less screen size. I hope this is still visible. Excuse me. So in this process here, once our lead is converted into the opportunity, and now I'm creating the quote. I've added all the product. I can now then start working on the discounts and any other offer which I like to provide. I can provide the offer discounts on the total price. Excuse me. Say I want to offer a 5% discount. Sorry, I'm back again. So I can just make all the discount or anything which is under my remit. I can actually put that discount and configuration here. Excuse me. Which you can see it's automatically gets calculated. But if it is not, then just save and let the calculation process to kick off. So it also does really fast anyway. So it's all don't want to complex by naming like the roll of fields and calculated fields. But what you need to understand is like as a simple sales process. Excuse me. So this is what like how you can configure the code. Now the major thing is how you're going to distribute this code. So let's assume that like you're filling all the information. You put down a description. Okay. Now I have created this code. I'm ready. I'm happy to distribute. What I can do, I can actually do the export to PDF on the top. Here, it will, whatever the based on the template I have actually updated, it will generate the code and put down all my logo, everything, any other details, product information, totals, any discounts, everything, all the details, any blurb I want to put, any terms and condition, everything I can just put it down here. And then I can either download and send it by email, or I can simply just initiate the email by clicking email here. So when I do the email, it will just open up email activity. And within the email activity, I can mention who do I need to send it to, which is going to Northwind. Now, if the account is mentioned here, typically it just uses the main contact. So the primary contact is associated with the account. You can put down like all the blurb here in terms of the text. Let me just expand a little bit for you. Now, again, who's going to type in all these things? So I can use my insert template option. Sorry, not that one. I clicked on. Okay, I haven't got any email template, so I'm going to struggle on that one. But I can insert the template here, and I can put down in this one. So we have one question. What about we having a complex discount calculation based on the multiple factors like amount or customer in another system? Very good question. In that one, like, you want to define the product accurately and the price list. So the price list, sometime, I don't know what are the other scenarios. You're giving me like a high level question, but we do have customers who like to operate on a loyalty scheme, saying like, if this is a gold customer, they get 5% on a certain product, 10% on a different product, but also there are different packages we are running based on the festivals or the type of events. So these are the one you definitely can configure within the system. Unfortunately, we haven't got enough time, but what you can do, you can go into the app setting and you have a discount list, you have product configuration, you have price list configuration, unit and groups. So this is where you can define all the combination of elements. So you first define, say, 5% global discount. So it's in a percentage, save and close. Then you can use that into the product and families. You can use that into the price list and so on. So there are complex combination there, and unfortunately we won't be able to cover it today because it's quite a lot to understand on this one, the combination, how it happens. But there is a one slide which I can actually flash up quickly after this few things I've explained. So I'll bring that back. Also, you have a product catalog configuration. So you can configure here while we are in here in the product and family. You can create a family for the like saying gold customer family, silver customer family, or the like say different type of coffee coffee machine. Or you want to sell it like in a coffee machine, you want to have a pack of coffee beans. You want to sell some cups with that. So you can actually create that family. So it's up to you how you define it. Now, that brings us to the primary question. When I have a new customer who like to implement the sales, I would ask those questions first. Say, what is your sales process? Two, what do you sell? Is a product, services? How do you group them? How do you discount them? What is your sales process in terms of negotiation? All this area you need to define and put down into the flow diagrams. This is what I do. I put down on a nice UML diagram, very quick and easy way to define. And then I match it up with what is available out of the box and which part I need to customize it, which part I need to add more fields, more validations, business rules, and so on. So this is what you can customize later on. Excuse me. And also, once you have configured all these details and everything, you can add a bundle, you can visualize this into the Power BI report. There are a lot of features are available. Okay, let's switch back to our cells. And here you will be seeing a very simple look and feel here, which is quite cut down version. Why? Because this particular app is actually giving me more focus. But if I just switch to the one thing I like to mention here before I switch to another process, if you switch to sales process, now you have a lot more table exposed. So you have quotes, orders. Again, it's the same data because it's like an app sitting onto the one same single Dataverse environment. So here you can actually see marketing lists, campaigns, goals, forecast, any associated cases if you have a customer service in implementation as well. Excuse me. And there's some of the other areas here. Excuse me. So this is how you can actually get exposed access to this one. Now, few things I like to mention. I'm not going to go into that detail, but you saw the business process flow, and you can go into the make.powerapp.com, and then you can customize that process. You can also inherit your own or create your own process and do the diversion of that. So initial lead collection has happened. You want to take them through the different other stages. Opportunity has happened. You want to take them through the different stages. Then you can actually do that. Okay. Quick time check. I will take another 5-10 more minutes. So let me just show you a few things. So in terms of the opportunities, now we have a nice, beautiful view available. And the opportunity process, as you've seen, from the lead, it continues on the opportunity process. But this is where I can see all the information on a fingertip. I can see which are the hot leads, which are in the probability in terms of the high win. It sits on the top, which are the estimated close date. So whatever I'm looking into the closer area here, that's where I need to concentrate. And then I can see all the information down here. I have multiple informations available within the I can see in a Kanban features and everything that's all features are available. I can do the forecasting. So let me quickly switch over. I can see Raz popped up for a minute. So excuse me, my time is getting up. I have a forecast. Why do I need a forecast? So let me give you a little bit background here. So in a sales perspective, I need a forecast to be done on the demand. I also need to do the forecast revenue. So how much revenue I can make. Most of the organization stays on the revenue forecasting. And forecast currently, it's a little bit simple calculations here, but it's evolving. Sometime, I don't know when, but you can actually see those forecasting now leaning on towards AI. There are multiple ELS, Arena, there are different models available, which can actually do a great forecasting for you. So forecasting can consider multiple factors, including the time of the year, festivals coming in, additional bank holidays. Um, some of the news has highlighted something, say, okay, my product sources is going to be less. So even if I try and make some sell, and that's immediate sell, and my supply chain is broken, I cannot fulfill those sell because I'm going to go into trouble. So those are the factors. It's going to go into the more AI and other Copilot areas. Excuse me. So what happens? All the salespeople will be listed. Configure goals and the forecast. So in a goals process, if I can quickly find the slide for you, the process I have. These are all the opportunity recording competitor against lost. So we can have a quite good report here. These are the pipeline KPI views, scoring views, the lot of things here. unfortunately, we haven't got enough time, but transaction currency. So with regards to the question from Williman about configuration, the currency could be another factor which can cause you a lot of trouble in a product configuration, because, and also the quotation and everything, because if you have provided a quote in a different currency, and if you don't update this currency conversion rate, you could be throwing yourself into either happy scenario or negative scenario if the currency conversion differences are too high. Okay, so the product configuration, excuse me, the product life cycle is typically revert, clone, retire, because you want to retire the products, or maybe put into the different review again, so you can revise them. You then have unit groups, bought, like, this is one of the example is a pallet wise, or each bottle cost might be different. Pack of the bottle has a different discount rate or the different pricing. So that's something you can see. The family examples. Let me see if I can share any of the information afterwards from this one. Some of the slides are from the uh, MB280 exam, so I might not be able to share due to the NDA, but if I can share any of the references from the Microsoft Learn, I will point out to you. Then you have a price list. This is one of the examples. So William, your question might actually solve by this kind of diagram here. You can actually show you what is a different price list for the different type of customers. So the one we are looking into it is, excuse me.
Hi, Narayan. So just let
Hi.
you know we've overrun a little bit now. So
Okay.
we do need to hand over to Baris
Sure.
before we hand over to Jan. So if you could share the link to the Microsoft Learn information on product configuration, I think
Absolutely.
that'd be really helpful. And then we can follow up on this topic afterwards. Is that okay?
Absolutely fine. Just give me quick 1 minute. So something information I can share here. So obviously, I define all the processes and everything here. So which is something you want to explore. Make sure you go into the setting area, which is very important. Go into different areas and try and learn about with the description and see how the things are happening. If you do have any question, you can certainly drop those questions here. This is the Microsoft Learn link, which I have already shared previously while the Arpit session was going on, but I'm sharing it again. This is my I call it my Bible. I get all the information here. Also, some of the feature, whenever actually accessing it, this is the important factor I like you to understand. Uh, some of the area, wherever you have a licensing role and requirement, pay important attention to it here. So licensing are very important because some features only covered by certain licenses and also the certain roles. So you need to be very careful on how you can configure the lead scoring configuration. Only system admin can do it. So this is where here that you can actually create a custom roles and customize it according to that. But licensing are important. So that's the one thing. I also wanted to share, if you are interested in getting certified after learning everything, you can certainly see the information from MB210, but it is already retired. So I wouldn't concentrate much on this one. For certification perspective, I would concentrate on 280. So let me share this link, and this is where you can see all the entire syllabus. And last but not least, one thing here which I would like to mention here, learning room. You will see in a number of learning room, experts are here, and you will find the relevant room which you like to subscribe to it. It's totally free of charge, but many of our speakers are here as well, so they can actually help you solving your questions. So, and we just sit on the top. So we are here. And I think we have pretty much covered up everything, so we can get the Baris prepared for the next session. And and yeah, happy learning, and make sure you all get certified as well.
Thank you so much, Narayan. So as you can tell, everyone, we're covering a lot of content today. We're falling behind schedule. So without further ado, we will introduce Baris to deliver his next session. We're half an hour overdue for Baris. So Baris, if you could share your screen, please.
Hi. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Now,
So-
whilst we wait for Baris to share his screen, a little bit about Baris. So Baris, people aren't aware. A lot of people new to the community are not aware who Baris is. Baris is one of the longest serving Dynamics 365 MVPs, and he's also one of the earliest founders of this community of the D365 Saturday Power community. Baris is actually one of the original founders, as well as being over a 10-time awarded MVP as well as an MCT, and he's delivered a lot of the trainings on development for Dynamics. So, Baris, it's a huge pleasure to have you today. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Raz. How we are doing? Half an hour or 1 hour?
We have exactly till 4:30. So you've got 38 minutes basically.
38 minutes. Okay, that's all right. I can finalize it in 38 minutes. No problem. So hello everybody, and then I hope you're enjoying with this event. So there are lots of information. I know it's not easy for you to keep all of these in your mind actually, but hopefully you will watch this video, actually this presentation video again and again, and then you will learn something about this Dynamics 365 CE environment. So because this is one of the most important solution, I would like to say Dynamics 365 is a solution. It's not an application, because it's giving a very important view and then very important management skills for the companies actually. So the Dynamics 365 competitors are Salesforce and then Zoho or this kind of solutions actually on the market, but Dynamics 365 is the one of the most configurable and then achievable, and then with the some investing of the Microsoft in the AI area. So the one of the feature of all these company business applications actually, so all packages a completely unique solution. I am always very exciting to talking about Dynamics 365 because I'm very loved at this ecosystem. So basically today I am gonna talk about the Dynamics 365 sales features, Demystified. So the little bit we will talk about the features of the Dynamics, what it offer for us actually. So the step-by-step guide. Actually, Narayan, lots of he advised and then he demonstrated lots of things regarding the what will I say in the sales features actually. But as you understand the concept of these trainings or the bootcamp actually, so the step by step we are talking about the same topics, but in each step we are giving the much more information and the much more deep information in each step for you, and via that way you see the all solution, and then finally you are getting the much more information and then extend your ability regarding the solutions and then the system actually. So basically Raz talk about a little bit, but I would like to say something about myself. My name is Baris, and 14 times I got MVP award from the Microsoft. Last 18 years I'm working on this era, and then until now actually I don't count anymore, but until now I completed more than 200 Microsoft Dynamics projects actually. I don't know the exact number, maybe 300 until now, I don't know. But anyway, so basically I am on the market as a developer, as a solution architect, as a functional designer, and the lots of actually hat I have in my head actually. So in each project, actually, I'm using the different skills of myself, but basically, with basic terms, I am software developer. End of the day. So anytime I can write the code for this ecosystem, and I love the coding as well. So the Mavens and the Flex are my companies, and then we are delivering the dynamic solutions actually on these companies for the market. So basically, why Dynamics 365 sellers? Actually, a little bit we need to talk about these sellers because it's the game changer modern sellers solution actually. Why this is important? Because the sellers teams, a little bit often really on the manual process. They are doing the manual process and then across the multiple systems. And I still know the lots of companies still use the Excel for their sales process. And then if you bring this Excel to the Dynamics 365 sellers, we will engage with their client very easily, and then via that way they will do better decision making on the system actually. So currently, if you don't use the Dynamics style solution and business application solutions, it's easily lack of customer insights, and you can't understand where your company is going through. Is everything good or not? So you don't know. That's why Dynamics 365 sales is important, because you are able to see the pure view of all this stuff. On the other hand, then many teams use the disconnected tools, making it hard to track leads, manage opportunities, or even collaborate effectively. So basically, Dynamics 365 combination of the all think actually what you need on the sellers or customer service and the other related technologies actually, or the related areas. So you are able to connect every solution with Dynamics 365. So basically, that's why Dynamics 365 is important, and it's bring everything together. And then also maybe another important point is the built-in AI tools analyze the customer data and provide you the actionable insights. So this is I think the one of the most exciting thing nowadays, because nowadays and the last couple of years, Microsoft offering the Copilot in the every point of the Microsoft products, and then so the Dynamics ecosystem also part of this, and you can do lots of things, exciting thing with this ecosystem basically. So that's why Dynamics 365 sales is important. Let's little bit look from the high level and then go to the down little step by step actually. So the Dynamics 365 CE currently offers sales, marketing, call center, and the other solutions as well, as you can see here. So we are focusing the sales in here, but in the next days actually, so we are preparing another presentation series, I think the Bootcamp series for the other solutions as well in here, an example, marketing, customer service. So these are very important and exciting solutions of Microsoft. Today we will just focus sales, but Dynamics 365 is not just sales. So the call center, omnichannel solutions, field services, customer portals are also they are the exciting and the very important solutions of this ecosystem. Dynamics 365 AI actually a little bit changing with the Copilot. Currently, we don't have service inside and the sales inside. These are changing with the Copilot also, as well as customer insights is going through underneath of the marketing solution. And marketing solution name change with the customer insights already, but all this stuff were existing solutions, but they will deprecate and then they will go through that, they will turn to Copilot solutions, Copilot for sellers, Copilot for customer service, Copilot for marketing, and then so on. So another important items here, I think the AI Builder is still there, and on the side of the Power Platform, you are able to use it. And then Azure Cognitive Services also, anytime you can connect with Dynamics 365 for the better AI solutions. And in the Power BI side, we have a Power Platform side. Actually, we have Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Copilot Studio to generate the Copilot agents at the background. We are able to do this, and then we can get the very insightful solutions in here. So basically, what is Salus? Salus is the solution, bring everything what you need for the hot and cold sellers. Hot and cold sellers are the terminology they are using in the sellers area. So if you have the sellers can done very quickly, an example in the couple of minutes, this is called the hot sellers, and cold sellers means the from the 1 day to 6 months. Actually, you can talk about the one opportunity and the one code. This is called the cold sellers. So if a sellers more than long 1 day, it's called actually the cold sellers. So the combination of these, actually you can manage the everything in Dynamics 365 area, as other people before me, actually Narayan and Arpit already talked about these items, but I would like to repeat for you. So the important point of the sellers area, customers. So I mean account and contact. But before account and contact, we already have a lead entity. So the lead is the starting point of a client in Dynamics 365 ecosystem. Then lead can convert to the account and contact, and a lead can we can generate for a lead an opportunity code, and then after code is successfully completed, I mean we won this opportunity, we transform this to do an order, and then after the order we are generating an invoice, and all sales automation, I mean the Salesforce automation, completing with this structure. Actually, these are basics of the sales in Dynamics 365, and we will talk about this issue. But before go through, I would like to talk about a little bit how we get leads, actually, because lead generation is one of the important part of the sales teams. Why? Because without lead generation, you can't do anything. So you can have clients and you can continue your sales with your current clients. This is fine. But to survive a company, you need more customers. So these process is called the lead generation. So lead generation can be different ways, actually. So nowadays in our modern world, actually, this can be via our websites, this can be via social media, this can be e-commerce, this can be via WhatsApp or the similar applications, actually. So how can this possible? Let's talk about the one example. So these are the two examples, the projects that I work. One is from the Corpay, another from the Metrobank. I was in all these two companies as a consultant, and then we completed some Dynamics 365 solutions in the UK for these companies. So for the Corpay and the Metrobank, you can see here the some screens. In the Corpay, actually, you can see here the get in touch area. So when you write your information here, when you click the send button, everything is going through Dynamics 365, and we are generating a lead for you. And then one of the sales representative is taking your ownerships, your records ownership, and then your process is going through. In the Metrobank currently, as you can see here, there is a button, apply online now. When you click this button, a new form will be open, and you will write your information here, and step by step you will go through your journey in the form. While you go through in the form, at the background system always connect with Dynamics 365, and you make some KYC check, know your customer checks, and then related checks, and finally it's deciding open an account for you or not. Why I am telling this one? This is how we integrate Dynamics 365 with current websites. Actually, this is just one idea, and then this is just one real world scenario for you actually. So these kind of systems you can set up if you want, and then you can continue to retrieve your clients or your leads actually. So from this kind of system, this is just one example. This is just a website, and as I said earlier, this can be possible via different ways. So this is just an example. If I continue with my next presentation, actually, next slide, I mean, so what kind of information we need to keep in Dynamics ecosystem? It's completely related to your client, I mean the company use the Dynamics 365, because if you are a consultant in a day, Dynamics 365 consultant, these companies will be your client, and your client must choose how they will use Dynamics 365, because there are multiple ways for this. Basic thing actually, if this company where they use the Dynamics 365 actually, so maybe they are using Dynamics 365 for B2B operations or B2C operations. If they are using Dynamics 365 for the B2B operations, actually, maybe they don't need the marital status of a contact, or maybe don't need to keep the education of this person in the contact level. But if we are talking about the B2C system, then these are maybe important information for the decision makers. Why? Because while generating a campaign in the Dynamics 365, an example with the marketing automation or the customer insights, so maybe you would like to take action regarding the marital status of these people, age range, or their daily spend, or this kind of informations could be important. So while designing Dynamics 365, you have to decide what kind of data you need to keep in this system, and then where do you need to keep this information. So when you combine all of this information, you will finally get a 360-degree customer view. This 360-degree customer view is important because if you create a CRM system, especially for the sellers, customer service, and the marketing, these are your focus. You have to know your client with 360 degree. Why? Because their demographic information, behavioral information, transactional information, or other informations are very important for these companies' decision makers, actually. This is very important point. So this is one of the important point of this system.
Hello there, Baris.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, we've only got 20 minutes left. I know you want to show some of the new features of Dynamics.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to kind of give you a heads up, really. That'd be great.
Okay, that's all right. I'm jumping to this area now. So let's talk about the important new features of Dynamics ecosystem. So the Narayan talk about how you can use this system. I mean, so what is the contact, account, and lead, opportunity, and then code, and all things you know. But what are the new exciting features of the Dynamics ecosystem? These are for the maximizing sales performance with the most impactful work, actually, one of these, and then Copilot became one of the very significant part of this Dynamics application. So as you can see, Microsoft is putting this Copilot screens everywhere of the Dynamics, and then finally you will get some extra information. So basically this feature directly addresses these issues. I mean, prioritize the high potential leads, and then avoiding the waste of time of our sellers, actually. Why this is important? Because system automatically will check all your leads and opportunities, and then it will give you some important information regarding your leads and opportunities for the best next action for the more effective sales. This is the one actually. So the why do we need this information and this system in the Dynamics 365? And as you can see, this will be available in the March 2025. So the another one actually, and then this will be public preview in the January, and general availability will be in the March. So the with this new feature of the Dynamics 365, again, you are able to manage these opportunity intelligence agents. This is the another new cool feature of Dynamics Sales. So the what will you get for with this feature actually? So that there is so much happening across your opportunities actually. So there are multiple stakeholders, multiple touch points, and then so you are easily get lost your opportunities. So basically, this area, this sales Copilot part of the Dynamics ecosystem, able to give you more specific view of your opportunities, basically. So that there are two features here completely related with sales area, and then Copilot, it's became more important point of the Dynamics ecosystem, and by January and March we will get these two features in our Dynamics ecosystem. So these are the points of the regarding Copilot sales. And the another Copilot, these are related to Dynamic sales. And now we jump to the Copilot for sales area, and then another new feature of the Dynamics, which will be generally available in the March 2025, which is the you are able to save meeting notes in the CRM following Teams meeting actually. So you don't need anymore to keep notes while working with Dynamics ecosystem. So because everything will be directly go through the your CRM system, and your meetings with your client will be summarized under the Dynamics, and you will achieve all this data. You don't need to take note for this. So actually, and the users don't need to worry about this issue. Another one is the extend email drive with file links from third-party systems. With third-party system, currently we are talking about Outlook, but in the future, Microsoft will add other applications as well. So there is one problem of the sellers currently. You can imagine that as a seller, you refer the multiple system while responding to customer queries, and then via that way, you will very quickly assign some files, and then you are able to manage everything in the directly Outlook actually. So and then also I can demonstrate this feature for you after one slide. So also you are able to share your records when composing the emails in the Outlook. Yeah, you are able to do this as well. So you know that if email just directly came for you, you would like to share this email with your co-workers, it's easily you can do that in Dynamics ecosystem. So with the Outlook and the Copilot for sales integration, you are able to do this stuff. Actually, in that point, I would like to stop this presentation, and I would like to show you something in my demonstration area. So I already prepared the demonstration here, just in this my limited time, I would like to show you something regarding this issue. So this is my Dynamics ecosystem. As you can see, I'm using with Sales app, and then when I open this system, Copilot is opened on my screen, and I can ask the question regarding my opportunities, my contacts, my leads, and everything. But currently, I would like to demonstrate you one thing. So if you integrate Copilot for sales for your Dynamics 365 solution, you will have this in your application area with the add apps area, you can activate this Copilot for Sellers. This will be part of your Outlook, and the inside of this Outlook, you can select which environment we will use with this Copilot for Sellers. And then in here, there are multiple settings regarding to this Copilot Sellers AI, but the most important things actually, so in here, save email to Dynamics and then save meetings to Dynamics. These two settings are very important, and you are able to configure your system, your Copilot for Sellers, for the learning mechanism of this generative AI. So basically, it will automatically generate some information for you while saving all this data. Actually, this is the part one. Part two is the forms. And while using the Copilot Sellers user interface in the Outlook, which I will demonstrate in a minute, this area as well after this. So you can see here first name, last name, job title, email. There are some informations. You can add your fields using this area, and you can change this required or not, and then allowing the editing, you are able to do this kind of settings in here, and then you are able to change, or you are able to add the new record type while clicking this button, and then you can organize all this stuff here. So basically, why we are doing all this stuff? Because of this. So let me demonstrate for you one thing. And there's an email here, which is the email I sent from my Outlook account, and then the email title was Dynamics 365 and Power Platform Release Waves, and I gave some information about the release waves here. But what happened here? Because of I activated Copilot for Sales here, as you can see, the system asked me to save this email to Dynamics 365, and the key email info I am able to get here. As you can see here, it's describing what is this email about. And then via that way, I can write a draft email here. I can create an inquiry, or I can create a proposal. I can address a concern in here, or I can share this information one of my colleague actually in a different email, so that I can change the language as well if this is not the relevant language for me. And the system automatically shows me who is this, who is the sender of this email. You can find all this information in here, as you can see, and then you can see the other emails from this person in this area. So basically, Copilot for Sellers can configurable solution for you under your tenant, Outlook tenant, and then you can say the system how to organize all this stuff, and then this contact information and these contact cards and the other information, or this creation of the record. So the whole field, which fields will come here, and then how to organize all this stuff, you are able to addressing in here actually. So as I said earlier, you have to click the more apps, you have to click the add apps here, so the system will show you all the solutions. And when you write here the sellers, you are able to quickly see the Copilot for Sellers in these solutions. When you activate it, it will directly come to here, and then you can step by step configure all this system in here. So basically, yeah, this is completely related with Copilot for Sellers. Actually, as you can see here, it's coming like this. Now, if I go back to my original presentation here, then I can continue with another cool features of we are expecting in the next couple of months from the Microsoft. So what we are expecting from the Microsoft in a couple of months, actually. So just a second. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, here now I'm done. Another important point that you have to know, in March 2025, we will get a completely another application from the for the Outlook mobile, and this Outlook mobile application will accessible to the Copilot for sales. So again, you can imagine as a seller, you spend time in the field meeting with customers, and you are staying all time in your mobile device while traveling around the world for your clients. And then, so these solutions will help you for the accessing your Dynamics data, and then sorting out the issues while you are on the way with your standard Outlook mobile application. So this is a very good solution, and with this March we will got to this solution. So AI generated email responses, AI generated opportunity summaries, tracking Outlook activities, and creating and editing contacts on the other CRM objects also possible with this solution. Another important solution again in here, system will automatically prepare you for the meetings. This is currently, I don't know why, I already have access this, interestingly, I don't know why. Currently, after I installed this Copilot for Sales application, for each meeting, starting actually before start each meeting of mine, automatically I am get a notification from Teams, and in the Teams system tells me what is the next meeting, and then what the expected talk area actually in this meeting. I'm already getting that. I don't know why in the March they are saying the public preview will be March 2025, but this is working for me currently. I don't know, maybe Microsoft will do some extra things regarding this, but I don't know, as I said. And then this is also available currently, but this is the very good option for the sellers. Okay. So the profile updates and the deal related insights we are able to get with this solution in here. Via this way, actually, you can prepare your quickly and effectively for any situation before the enter a meeting. And then another important feature of Microsoft Dynamics is fill forms faster with Smart Past. Actually, this is also public on the public preview, but the general availability will be February 2025. Currently, if you copy an information, an example from Word or Outlook, so that if you would like to pass this to the Dynamics forms, system automatically will find for you which information is going to where on this form, and it will automatically generate the data for you in the Dynamics. So that this is one of the cool feature of the Dynamics we will face in a couple of months. And then currently, if you use the Dynamics, we are able inside of the views, what we generate as a filter, we are able to get in the views. But after the April 2025, you are able to write in the view, and then system automatically filter all the information in the grids, what we need, what we wrote here. So this is the completely game changer feature of the Dynamics, because this will completely change everything in Dynamics ecosystem. Why? Because the filtering records, sortings, and the text search will be more easily natural language we will use to do all these things actually. So I don't know, do we have time? But I am done, Raz, actually. So if there is any question, I can try to answer. So basically, I try to make it very quickly for you.
Hello there, Baris. Yep, so we've still got 5 minutes left. But if you've covered all the new features, then we can move on to the next session.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, thanks again, Baris, for covering some of the new features in Dynamics. So now, without further ado, we're covering an important topic on document automation for Dynamics 365 with none other than Jan Moritz. So Jan, let's put Jan online. Let's see if we can get a hold. So Jan is online. Hello there, Jan. Can you hear us?
Hey, Raz, I can hear you fine. Do you hear me?
Excellent, Jan. Thanks for joining us today. So thank you, Baris. Thank you, Baris, for covering the latest features of Dynamics.
Cheers.
So now we're over to Jan. So Jan will be covering how to. So for many large organizations, they do require document automation to be delivered as a solution, enterprise-wide document automation solution. In every project, in every customer who's dealing with customers that need documentation, document automation is a very important part of that. And so Jan will be covering that today. Jan is also part of Docs42. Docs42 is a Dynamics 365 solution for document automation. So it's a great pleasure to have you here today, Jan. So over to you.
Thank you, Raz. Pleasure's all mine. And again, I hope all of you can hear me fine. If you have any comments, just feel free to interrupt and let me know. I do have, well, I'm already seeing, quite some familiar faces. So I think some of you may have already come across our solution. And Raz has done a fantastic job essentially summing up the pitch of what we're doing, since it's all about document generation. And I have two parts planned for the half an hour that we have together. And just as before was mentioned, that it's probably a good idea to go through this once again in the recording and just kind of digest, since there's so much information that you're being presented here in this session. And likewise, I assume, depending on where you're dialing in from, it's pretty late already. So without much ado, I want to give you a brief introduction on a higher level, and we'll share slides, just some general slides with you for that. And then I will dive into a bit more tangible demo scenarios of what Docs42 actually does. So in order to do that, I will keep things pretty simple. Just have a PowerPoint here in front of me. And there you see the title. Oops. Went too quick. It's all about power automating your documents, and it's generally we're focusing here, of course, on Dataverse and customer engagement, but Docs42 really integrates into all other systems as well. Now, if you already know Docs42, could I have maybe some emojis or something that you can send? Trying to have this a bit more engaging. Some of you, do you already know Docs42? Yeah, I see. Oh, yeah, I see some results. Very good. So again, we have been, I guess, trusting companion of Raz's events and community. I think it's fair to say to a good extent by now, and it's always a pleasure. And in that case, for those of you who are new to Docs42, here just a brief introduction. We've got over 800 clients by now. For those of you who have been paying attention over the past years, it's been growing steadily. This is just some insights in our community. We're based in Vienna and work very closely with over 100 partners, as we ourselves are purely ISV, so software manufacturer, and these kind of projects that are being implemented into the clients that use our software typically do so with a partner who helps onboarding and so on. Now, if you go a step further, you will get just a brief summary of, again, what does it really mean, document generation in terms of Docs42. And documents, what I've learned through being with Docs42 is that documents come really in the most various forms and shapes. It could just be contracts, invoices, quotes, reports. Here are just a list of the most common examples that come across. Presentations, of course, just like the one here in front of me. This is something that we actually productively typically generate with Docs42 ourselves. Order confirmations, emails, any offers that you're writing, all of these are use cases, even labels in production or manufacturing settings, anything that uses structured data really, and that is used within sort of a template context, Docs42 can work with. And to go a step further here, I give you an idea in terms of input. And that is really anything that can come in terms of structured data. Typically, again, we are moving in a system of dynamics, be it ERP, CRM systems, Business Central, Dataverse you've got over here, but also SAP or in any other web context. Maybe you've got HTML, XML data, or SQL somewhere, even on premise. Or you've got a PowerPoint presentation, another Word document, PDFs, Excel, anything really that is open to a connection we can access and allow you to easily connect that to your documents. Now, so far, this of course could be done in various ways, but a key focus of Docs42 is really enabling the user, the end user typically, who wants to have the document, to work with templates themselves and to make design changes very easily. Now, how we do that, you will see in a minute, because we leverage M365. So all of your document needs can be served with just the standard Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, where we have a Docs42 add-in, and that add-in allows you to quite seamlessly integrate to all these other systems and then have a very sort of full package for that that typically meets your document needs. And that, again, can look in so many different ways, ultimately, be it email creation or be it contracts or something else. There's a big bandwidth, essentially, of how people use Docs42. Output forms are quite as diverse, similar to input formats. If you want something as a PDF, if you want to send it via email, I will show you an example in a minute where we're creating an email as well as an order or actually a quote, and send that out to a demo client. You could send contracts directly through signature service providers to just get it signed in the other end. You can also print something, of course, physically or metaphorically, have custom outputs, archive somewhere. There's a lot of different options that you can use. You can also, so typically the business users are already in an environment where they want to have a document, like CRM in this case. But you can also integrate Docs42 as it's really just a web service call in the back end, where you could call it from virtually anywhere. So be it your website, be it through a Power Automate flow or Power Platform, Power App, any other workflow tools that typically. Now, in that regard, this probably makes sense. The 800 plus customers are using Docs42 in various contexts, and they all appreciate, I would say, the key USPs are really the flexibility of the tool, that you can integrate various data, output various data, and also then the ease of use, that it just kind of reduces a lot of workload and strain, where typically you either copy or paste, or you hard code templates, or you just don't have a proper solution. To give you a bit of a scope, you see here that it's really across all industry that Docs42 is used. It's from anywhere in public or government institutions or officials, to anywhere in manufacturing, in the finance industry, accounting. It's really, I mean, I don't know an industry that we don't serve. We also have clients across I think most continents apart from the poles probably. But the use cases are various, and it always comes back to needing or using structured data in a polished quality and highly dynamic and individualized output format. And that really comes down to documents. And if you're curious about this, I will give you a little QR code at the end, since we're having our Docs42 Day in Vienna this March, and I highly encourage all of you to visit, or any of you who are interested. And there will also be a European institution presenting. That was a pretty big case last year, and they implemented Docs42 sort of at the core of their various document needs. And it's super interesting to see all these various different use cases. And yeah, there's a lot of nice reference scenarios. Again, in this case, we're focusing on CRM, and I don't want to drag it out too much, to just give you an idea on different designs that we can implement, and then jump right to it, because I think that's probably most interesting for all of you. Now here you already see that I've got a couple things open in front of me. On the right hand, just enlarge this a bit. Of course, we're in CRM, we're in CE sales, and I'm in the quotes entity over here. Just navigated to solar panels, since we'll be using this one as an example. Now, in this solar panels example, already see that we've got Docs42 pop up on the top here in the ribbon, and this app essentially gives me the option to navigate to various document outputs, well, I guess formats or pathways that I've already configured beforehand. And you can customize this, of course, however you please. In this case, I will just generate a PDF to see what kind of getting out of here. And then if I put this on the side, we've got the template for this quote that we're generating on the right-hand side to compare and get an idea on how this actually comes together. Now, again, this is a pretty simple generation where we just put it right in front of us and download it, essentially this document. And you may note that this, again, was triggered directly out of CRM and also refers to 3 products, essentially, that we have in here, as well as, of course, all the other information that's in this entity and also related to this entity. We've got a very pretty front page, but this front page, in terms of data output or the template, is rather straightforward, as it's primarily a big picture. But down here, we've got a sub-document where we are having a graph and some data visualized. We've got some text that we're implementing. We've got data fields that are pulling the quote ID, as well as some names and addresses out of CE, and also some further data for the products that we're listing here relevant to this quote. We're doing calculations, we're adding in discounts, doing some displays and currencies that we're including here, as well as some images and other data from in these calculations here, as well as these sub-documents that are actually stored in SharePoint. So in this example, we are not just limited to data from Dynamics or from Dataverse in this case, but also pulling in elements from outside of this context. And as you will see, quite naturally so. This here is actually a PowerPoint presentation. So again, this is a quite neat example because we're pulling in different types of substructures, of sub-documents, and just data in general. Also this ad here at the bottom. And one last thing I want to mention is these QR codes that you see in the footer, because this is also dynamically created based on data that we have here. Now on the left side, I now want to highlight the key aspects that make up this quote. And on top, I navigate to the Docs42 add-in, and then you see that there's several options here, but we'll come back to that. For now, I just want to focus on basic functionality. You see that this image is being pulled in through this data field over here. So I double click on this data field. You will note that, well, one, I'm in the header, but second, it will actually pop up in this legend here on the side, where I immediately can see where this field is coming from, which data source this connects to. So this logo is actually coming from SharePoint, and we have it declared as an image type. All our data fields can take on various data formats. So you see numbers here, date and time, image, of course, the barcode, as we've seen the example. You can have some different Word documents, PowerPoint, PDFs, anything really under the sun, more or less, RTF, HTML, hyperlinks, bookmarks, or HTML files. All of this you can declare, besides just, of course, any other values or text that you might want to pull in. And then you see for the image, we just give it a dimension, quality, and directory parameter. And then this is how we actually get this up there. Now, Similar with these other data fields, if I double click on them, you'll see exactly where they come from. And of course, all of this structure here is custom. So you will see in a minute how we add new data sources, and you can give all of these data fields names. Actually, you'll see that this is still in German. So it's partly German translated, I guess. And you can also interact with all these data fields as you would with any typical text in or elements within Word, PowerPoint, or Excel. So I can highlight this, change the font, change the color, the sizing, and that's also why we've got, a homogeneous, sort of a smooth layout here, because you can just make sure that your layout and your design looks up to date. I can also grab these data fields and move them around. And likewise, if I undo this change and get back to my overview, I can just pull another data field in here, and there you go. You're essentially already live with that change once you save it. Now that's the basic functionality of Docs42 data fields. You might note these kind of highlights over here. If I click on it, you see what area is related to it. And if I double click on it, the automated range will pop up. And this gives us the option to work with areas and put conditioning, so any logic in there, as well as to repeat areas over a given data source. And here I'm just using the data source. And after the data source, there's the variable name, and you could type this, along with your standard operators, or you can also just go and insert data field, and this will pop up whatever data sources and data fields are connected to this example. And again, you can just have it in here manually. Change it again. And if I go down here, you will see that this data source, this data field, is actually another Word document. And this is where this graphic down here is coming from. And I will show you in a minute with a bit more detail how this looks. And down here, I want to just highlight how we actually get to this table, because it's pretty ingenious way to do this. Ingenious, my bad, not ingenious. Since we essentially just design the first line here, and then we have, if I double click on the automated range again, you will see the color coded element here. We're just repeating this first line over the data source of the products that we have in this quote. And that way we're just repeating and pulling in the different data elements that are in the specific quote that we're generating the document for. So again, that way you have a very dynamic end result. And the same, of course, with anything where you have these kind of conditions in there, you can make a lot of highly flexible output based on just individual templates. Similarly, down here, you will see that for the number formats on these kind of calculations or some fields that we have, we can define the format string or define the format by using a format string. And here we're actually pulling in the currency symbol from CE. So this is just an indicator also to data sources that are already connected in this data to these data fields. So you can just cross-reference essentially to data sources that are connected to the template. Now, if this sounds a bit unclear, I want to take a step and navigate back to this add-in to show you how we're actually getting these data sources in here and how I can cross-reference them accordingly. Since up here, we've already seen the insert data field option on the right side. And this data map is really where the magic happens when you first start with a template. Since here you see the various options that you have. In this specific example, you see that we are primarily working with CRM and or Dataverse entities. I double click on one like this, you will see, doesn't this load? Let's see. Maybe I've had this open for too long because it doesn't actually load the data source the way it's supposed to. Give this another shot. We'll try again in a minute. So because if I should probably reopen this from SharePoint, since this template is located in SharePoint, and if I open it too long ago, it's probably some kind of caching error or whatnot, since it was just idling now. Regardless, you can see where the data is coming from. And if I were to include a new sort of entity, yeah, see, that's the, okay. Let me just, we could call it a hard reboot. I'm just closing the template and opening it again. And then we're probably back with a live and up-to-date token here. So there you see just the regular sign-in through Microsoft, of course. And now I should be able, this back here, should be able to access as I'm used to. There we go. Well, you see that I wasn't lying to you. So this is essentially how you can access the different data that you've already connected. And here I'm just gonna, select the ones that we've highlighted to actually show up. And you can see that we're giving them labels. You can further filter based on other data fields that you've connected. You give it a name, and you can also test this. I can't with the user that I'm logged in here because it's a different user than the one we're using in the CRM system. But still, you see, I think, how you would do this. Also, perhaps to highlight, all you do here is you just connect to your Azure account, and then you indicate which quotes you want to connect to, and then you can already select which fields you want to have. So it's a very seamless integration. Similarly, you can do this with Business Central, with reports or entity data, finance and supply chain, SAP, anything, again, SQL based. You just have a query that you enter here, or anything else. You can also add dynamic fields. So if you have data field that you want to change, you can just use Visual Basic to include any of your own logic. Or as you see down here, also add lists and data from SharePoint, as we're doing in this example. So I hope this gave you a bit of an idea on how the template works and all the many things that you can actually do with Docs42 as a tool. Again, this is a very short summary, but just let me give you one more pointer, and that is that as you're seeing all these sub-documents, like this one down here being a PowerPoint, you can also think of the Docs42 template as a skeleton or framework template where you don't necessarily need static text and elements in the skeleton template is here, but you could actually just have sub-documents with conditioning that you pull in depending on the parameters for the final document. So depending on your use case, depending on what you're generating for, you can pull in various different content dynamically, and this gives you, of course, a lot of options to play with. Now, by the way, the data map that we saw where the sources are managed in, it's actually saved in this separate .dm data map file, and you can reuse this, and you can also export and import data sources from this data manager, and you can use it for different templates, so you don't have to redo this. Now, a couple things I want to show you here, and that is that you can also, of course, save to SharePoint, and up here we've got, you see the security tokens running out. So we'll just sign in again. And up here, I've got different libraries open. So this is actually one of our target libraries where we have a flow that's being created, or actually generating a document and saving it here, as well as the one here that really sort of indicate to be stored. And then we've also got the sub-documents here in the sales quote modules library. And I want to show you this in a minute, where if I go to send PDF via email, I can also send an email. And then we have seen, I think, a lot of the different, well, not a lot, but a handful of examples that at least give you a bit of an outlook on, again, how you could use Docs42. I want to implement at least a couple changes in the sub-document so you can perhaps get an idea of how this can look. So maybe I'm just, so this 20% here, just to again pick you up on what we're doing. This is the one that we generate at first, and you see that down here it's got the 20% mark, and you've got like this is the subdocument here, the solar panels slide, and I want to change this back to 10%, and this I can just say proposed, let's call this, since we're based in Vienna, I'll call this Vienna installation. And so again, I've just changed, let's see if I refresh this, change these subdocuments that are stored in a SharePoint. And if I, if the flow template uses the same subdocuments, which I assume, but I'm not 100%. So I'll just change this discount here to 42% because we have a flow actually. And if I save this, Docs42 is again being triggered, or the Docs42 server. So now the document is being generated because I've changed the flow and saved the change. And this now is also then being created here in this template, this target, sorry, not template, in this target library. So you see 2 minutes ago, I did this manually, right? I just asked essentially here for this to be generated to SharePoint, and that's the one over here. Now, again, it's the same document. And what I also did, if you remember, I said to please send this via email. It's landed down here. So if I go to my email, there's a demo account, of course, you see that 1751, good in time, Raz as well, so don't worry. So you see that we've got actually an email here. And lo and behold, if you have a guess what's in the quote attachment, it's of course the quote that we just looked at. So this gives you hopefully an idea how quick and efficient you can work with various different types of documents, since you can essentially just productively not just create quotes that are highly qualitatively and like individually created, but also have an email text here. So this name and of course any element in here. So this email body was also created or based on a Word template, and we're just putting together the Word template and the quote template as a PDF and attach it and then send it out. So again, just an example on how output could look. And then if we go back to the flow, we see that a few seconds ago, actually this third example also arrived. And we can see whether my changes took effect. We already see the 42% discount here that triggered the generation. And yes, we see that the Vienna installation, this was the change we did in this document. And also here we're back to template. So this hopefully gives you an idea on how quick and how efficient and sort of easy to use Docs42 is. One last feature in CE is that we have this pop-up option, and we can essentially make some selections. It's just a very simple example, and you can make some user adjustments here and then generate the document. And this is of course custom, like whatever change or data input, output you want to include here, you can do that. And also just a reminder that we are not limited to quotes. You can of course do the same thing in accounts or anywhere else. And again, you can also do this in different environments, and not just in Dynamics, but also all of Dynamics. You can mix and match documents and data. And that's essentially it from my side here. Just a quick summary again of Docs42. Very powerful design choices and handling with tons of benefits. So this, I guess, for your recording also to pause and glance over again. And as promised, I would like to pitch our Docs42 Day. The 13th of March this year will be in Vienna, close to where our office is. Also super pretty location with tons of exciting sessions, networking, partners, experts, and clients who will be there. The Vienna airport is presenting their use case of Docs42, and since they're sharing their use cases, reference case as well, I think I can officially announce the European Investment Bank, again, a huge case that are using Docs32, and they're super happy, and they will also present their case. So if you're available, feel free to join. We'll be happy to have you. Scan the QR code, and you should get all the details that you want or need. Alrighty, that's it from my side. I hope that was helpful. And again, thank you, Raz, for all your support.